And let's play the video. Let's play some Dungeons and Dragons, my friends. Hello everybody and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon and I'm back today with another episode of the great Galleria of Grunrundi. Got an amazing cast and crew with me here today to head into the Galleria once again and to see what shenanigans we can get up to today. Let's go around. Let's start with Chelsea. How you doing, our Dungeon Master for tonight? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm here. I'm doing this thing with you guys, which is always awesome. Yeah, and shenanigans. Lots of them.
The best.
That's going to ensue.
Absolutely. Well, let's go around to players. Let's figure out who we are, who we're going to be playing today. And let us start with Scraticus. Scrat, how you doing, my friend?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Well, do you know what? I was amazing, and then Chelsea sent me some DMs, and now I'm concerned more than anything else.
When she slides up in your DMs.
Yeah. When she slides up in my DMs with all this info, I'm excited in the worst kind of way, in a great way, but the worst. Trust me,
that's what they all say.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's almost time.
Yeah, overall, the opinion is ambivalent.
Yeah.
Amazing. Scrat, talk to us a little bit about Fergus.
Oh, Fergus. He started off as a young gnome who just wanted to go out and better himself. And then he met Finbar. And, well, anyone in chat who knows Finbar knows how that goes, as with having Finbar as a role model. And now he's infected with some sort of greed plague, like the harpies, the herpes, which could potentially turn him into a dragon and make him vomit gold everywhere. It's, he's a bit scared about that, to be honest. He's getting a bit sensitive now.
Body's going through some changes. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Amazing. Well, glad to have you back, Scraticus. And of course, we got Stump with us today. Stump, how you doing, my friend?
I am good. Thanks for having me back.
Amazing. It's good to have you here, my friend. Who are you going to be playing today?
I am bringing back Rundar Timbers, a rock gnome fighter, best known for his time in the arena where he had to dismember.
He certainly did. And you don't read into that one too much. You have to go back and watch that episode to truly understand the nature of that member. Amazing. We also have back with us today. We have Treepelt. How you doing, Treepelt?
I'm still looking for some old ladies to munch on. Maybe some human skins.
Absolutely. And what about in character?
Yeah, that's what I do in a normal life too. But
it's funny how art imitates life, isn't it? Great stuff. Great to have you back, Treepelt. And of course, we've got Ozzy back with us today. How you doing, Ozzy?
Hello, I'm good. I'm awake. And really looking forward to this.
Absolutely. And you've been playing
the great Ricardo. Some of you might remember from the shows of Borigog, Tabaxi Rogue, Arcane Trickster, never do well.
Absolutely. For some reason, I thought you were called Rictavio. My memory is clearly
It's Ricardo.
Exactly, Ricardo. And beautiful. I can't wait to meet Ricardo again. As for myself, I'll be playing Finbar, the bard, the most beautiful bard ever to have lived, ne'er-do-well, and panty salesman extraordinaire. If you don't know who Finbar is by now, he'll let you know as soon as possible. But he's actually recently set up with a new shop in the Great Galleria, with which to sell his panty line, which has been gifted to him by his mother, Mumbar. Last week's shenanigans involved that, which we'll get to here in a minute. Before we start today's show, of course, we're sponsored by D&Dice.co.uk. Boom! Go to D&Dice.co.uk, using Encounter Roleplay at checkout, get 5% off all their beautiful products, dice, some sexy things over there. Go check them out, my friends. You'll love them. They keep the show going, they support us, and make us do all of these shenanigans every Thursday. We blame them for all the shenanigans that happen here today. Here is the way to interact with today's show. If you haven't followed yet, hit the follow button and join us. Here's a tweet for you guys as well. Not twee. Nope, that's a lie. Exclamation point tweets, 20 retweets, viewer decision, screw with us, help out the party, or just do something insane, whatever you decide. And of course, you can donate to affect the game, give players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and just have fun with it. It's going to be a good time. Other than that though, I'll hand over to Chelsea to talk us through a little bit what happened last week on the show.
So last week, actually, as I recap, we had a viewer decision, right? Did we hit 20 retweets already?
I think we might have. No, not yet. No.
No, we haven't yet. Okay, good. I was like, oh, if we are, now's the time to do it. Okay, so last week was it was a Finbar train wreck, really. It was a Finbar train wreck. He was contacted after a giant battle where his colleagues had kind of collapsed from exhaustion, having saved one another from this giant 500-foot pit and an army of gnolls. No, it wasn't gnolls. It was kobolds. And kobolds, that's right. And so Finbar decides to let his friends just sleep where they are. And he decides to read a letter that is delivered to him, praise the Lord, from a little gnome. That is from his mother, who has gifted him a shop. After what happened at the Shoals of the Borgarg wedding, she wanted to give him a second chance to maybe do something. So she already set up for him to pick up the shipment and have a new line of granny panties made in his shop. Those were the two things. So they went and cleared out the shop, had some crazy stuff in it, and then there was, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. That was when all the donations came in, things happened. It was crazy. And then they destroyed the shop within the first 2 minutes of being there. We moved on to go pick up the shipment for the shop that basically is destroyed. And they decided to bait and kill about 25 grannies. Am I correct? Because all grannies carry
old bait and switch.
Grannies carry the bags of holding. They needed old bags of holding.
That's right.
Their bags of holding. That worked well. And then you got arrested because you killed 25 old ladies in the middle of the antiques district. And
technically they killed themselves. They killed 3.
Oh, that's true. You did force them to kill one another. I'll rephrase that. You're right. And you were arrested actually by the collectors of the antiques market, and they took you to a holding facility. Was kind of where we started off, and it was in this giant cavern, probably the largest space you've seen yet in the Galleria. And there was a giant cage in the middle, housing about 200 mutated, once were humanoids that have been taken over by this. Plague. I'm just gonna call it this plague, or this blight. Blight, whatever you want to call it. We can call it the herp if everybody's still really down for that. And
I know I am.
I know I love that herp. But their bodies had kind of been mutated and they're in an advanced form of it. And upon recognizing that none of you were infected, they begin actively projectile vomiting gallons of molten gold from their bodies. You guys decided to break free of your cage, which you did successfully thanks to, some of the tanks in your group. And basically the cell cracks free. They toss it to the side, and the molten gold is like creeping towards Treepelt and Finbar's feet as the rest of your party begins to dash off in another direction. And they're gone before you know it. And all eyes are still on you, and more of these creatures are coming in and starting to just like, and they're just like projectile vomiting in your direction, trying to make it hit you.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh dear. This is happening right now.
Right now, literally, and they're like shaking cages. And actually, because you guys are standing around, make a dex save or a dex check to make sure you don't get hit by any of this molten gold that's bad at you.
Check or save?
Save.
Oh,
now,
balls.
Balls. Oh no, what did you do?
It's a natural one, my first roll of the day.
Technically, I have wings and I was flying last time, so I'm like a little above, but it's like splashing up or something.
Yeah, you were flying, weren't you? You had wings or something, right? Okay, yeah. So you're off the ground. So your dex though was enough. I mean, you're about 10 feet from them, but it's like they're trying to hit you with it. Splashes of it hit Finbar's skin, and he takes a D10 worth of molten gold damage. Oh, you take about 4 points as it like splatters your skin almost like grease as you're frying bacon. This is molten gold. And both of you spot there is an exit at the far end of the room, which is easily 2,000 feet or so. And all around the exterior of the room are smaller cages that have other people in them. Some of them are just bound. Some of them are bound and gagged. Some of them look like they've been beaten to hell. But Finbar, roll a perception.
Oh dear, I'm bad at this. Oh my god!
A second one!
In a row! Are you kidding me?
Fantastic. Okay, well, you don't see anything. So as you guys are kind of running and trying to avoid these things that are kind of beginning to shake these bars, Treepelt, you notice that there are 2 gnomes, black bagged, tied around their head, and their hands bound to their
God
bodies.
damn it, Israel.
As such, and they're sitting in a small cell next to a bound a Taxby.
Oh dear.
Now the Taxby has a blindfold and has his hands like bound behind his back, but the 2 gnomes, they are like tightly bound and like laying on their sides like sacks of potatoes.
How
Go ahead,
far
Trooper.
are like the things behind us? Like we're still...
They're not out of the cage. They're in their cages, but they're vomiting through the cages at you because they're in their own cell.
So we have time to stop and save people if we wanted to.
If you wanted to. Plus, it's also technically on the opposite side, like it's far away from them. So let's say the width of the actual hallway you're standing in or pathway is about 10 feet. And then you've got another 10-foot worth of gel cell on the opposite side of the path.
Can I just like spit acid at the bars?
Yeah, you can spit acid at the bars.
I'm out of here. I see nothing. Also, Treepelt, Finbar, and Fergus both have a wild magic search roll from Israel here.
Make it
It's
happen.
a D10,000 roll.
Curse you, Isriver!
Do it.
Do I do that again?
I put it in the Zoom chat here for you. You can just copy that,
Yay.
paste it in.
Woof.
Woof. I rolled 1, 2, 1, 9. I am pinned beneath a large tombstone bearing my name. Oh my god, really? Really?
Okay.
This is not
Alright,
my
that's fun.
day. This is
That's
not
fun.
my day. Fergus, you are covered in a shell of a frozen slime. Ooh.
Oh my god, really?
Slime is just covering you right now. That's gross.
And it's like a shell. Ew.
shell, yeah.
You're like ew.
That's bad.
Oh, are you gonna
herpes.
come out like a beautiful butterfly? Like your cocoon?
As for Treepelt, the next magic item she handles appears to you to be 1,000 degrees. Really, really hot. So
Well,
hot right now.
Okay. So here's what happens: as you guys stop to free them from this, them shaking the bars of like where they've like been vomiting through has shaken free a large stone that falls from the ceiling and smashes Finbar flat, basically, like catches him in the back and knocks him flat to the ground as it hits his chest. And for some odd, strange reason, it has his name carved in it, Finbar.
God damn it, Isriva! Ow! This hurts!
As the gold is like creeping towards Finbar's face as he's pinned underneath this giant rock. Now, Treepod, as you look into this this cell, but one gnome is just a bound and black bagged gnome. The other one looks to have some kind of hard outer shell that looks kind of slimy and gross. And he's freaking out.
And the tabaxi is trying to wriggle free of his bonds.
Okay, would you like to make a dex to see if you can do it?
Yep, just dex.
Yeah, just give me. I would. Yeah, take a dex. A 7, not quite enough. You can feel it like starting to loosen, but it wasn't. Yeah, it's not enough to like get your hands free.
I use my mage hand to help me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess you would. There's something to roll against. Your mage hand comes out and like undoes it, frees your hands, and you're able to free your feet and stand up in the single seat by yourself, right next to the two laid out gnomes. Rundar, you're in a just like black bag. Like it's like you can't see anything. You can hear it. You hear rocks falling from the freaking ceiling. The little gnome next to you, who's slimy and has been touching you all night as he's been wriggling around, is making noises. And now you hear the cat, the taxi next door, break free of his bonds.
Oh, this is why you never stay.
We need to get out of here.
Wake up next to the slimy beside. So I too am going to try to free myself from the bonds.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll help him.
Nice. Yeah, you're able to just like it's they're not terribly tight, and you're able to like kind of pop free of them and wriggle your hands free. But there's still a slimy gnome next to you.
But
You guys out there? Can you help?
I take off and I recognize that it is the Great Finbar.
It is the Great Finbar.
Not Finbar Fergus.
Oh, yes, it is also the Great Fergus. We have a lot of greats with us.
The hero for gnomes everywhere.
This is true.
So I will help get him free as well.
Uprighted. Somebody needs to decide how to free him of this. What are you going to use to free him? Because it's more like a hard out. It's like that top layer of Jello. When like the Jello gets hard on top. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that. It's like weird and kind of squishy, but it needs to be like cut free.
I'm just thinking kind of like latex, kind of.
Yeah.
Cut the sweat and then peel it off.
Yeah, you're able to roll a dex just to make sure you don't like slip through and hit old Fergus. Just for shits and giggles.
I take out the dagger I had hidden in my boot and help scrape off that.
So you guys are able to like free him. He comes out of it like you're like a butterfly emerging. You're all slimy and gross though. Your blue jacket's ruined, Fergus.
This is disgusting! Ah! Oh, would you look at my jacket?
I'm just standing there, like, watching that happen.
Yeah.
Like, looking at Finbar and, like, I'm just gonna leave him under that rock.
Get me out of here now!
No!
Get up.
There's a tombstone on me.
Yeah, you guys are in locked cells. You guys are in locked. The three of them are in locked cells, but they are all free at this point. You're all free.
Well, I did the acid at the bars earlier.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay, yeah. So you'll need to roll that acid damage. How much does it do?
I did that earlier.
Oh, did you? No, I just missed it. I'm so sorry. Dragon's Breath. So actually click Dragon's Breath and it'll roll your damage there on your roll.
I'll do it again.
Because it was definitely successful. Oh yeah, and that one's successful too, for sure. So it says on the actual chat, see where it says Dragon Breath, you got to click it to actually roll your damage.
Oh, like that?
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so yeah, 2 acid damage. It starts to like eat through, and it eats through about a hole about this big in a section of it, and kind of like stops. As for Finbar, you're like just laying there, and the molten gold is like creeping in on your face.
Oh,
It's hot.
Let me see if I have this spell that I think I might have. I entirely don't remember.
I do
Any of the
things.
spells that I do. I can definitely turn invisible, but that won't help me right now.
No, Finbar, we need to help him.
I'm dying here, Fimble.
No, let him die.
Yeah!
Can't let me
Can
die.
Fergus fit through the bars? Can Fergus fit?
You know what? Make an acrobatics or athletics check.
I'm gonna cast Shatter on the
Oh,
tombstone
nice.
on me.
Yeah.
Which will how much? Oh god! Now I have to look this up in the thing.
Fergus
Oh,
rolled a 21 to
Hey.
squeeze through the bars to save Finbar.
oh my
He
god!
rips his jacket. He doesn't care about the clothes. He runs to Finbar.
No, Finbar!
Boom!
You run and between his like explosion.
It was all like
That's
goo on him.
that's 36
Yeah.
damage on a non-humanoid thing.
Wow.
double
So
damage.
16 damage on this rock on his chest.
Boom.
As Fergus like squeezes himself through, he's like aiming for the rock to knock it off. It explodes midair, and Fergus lands belly down on top of Finbar, his body. And you guys are in a friend embrace at the moment.
What are you doing? Why are you holding me?
I was saving you, Fergus.
I didn't need your help. You fool.
Well, but you need my help now. Move, go.
Fine, let's
And I'm
go.
gonna
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah, and yeah, you guys get on your feet, and it's interesting. Actually, roll both Fergus and Finbar, roll an insight for me. Let's see if you notice as you stand up to kind of back off from these spitting lava. It's Fergus, you definitely notice it that they are trying to avoid you. They're not trying to hit you. They're trying to hit Finbar.
Everybody wants him dead.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and well, they're trying to hit all of you except for Fergus. And Fergus, you notice it because as you step in front of
Damn
him,
fans.
one of them goes to vomit and stops,
I'm
as if not to
not-
hit you, but to hit him.
Man, I wish I had that kind of self-control.
I march up to him and I go.
Right?
I march up to the bars and I go.
You leave my friend Finbar alone. He is a sweet, perfect, nice person, and he helps me.
I'm running. I'm so
You
far
know
gone.
Finbar's like, I'm out.
Out of here.
You always got my back.
So you tear ass running. Rundar, you're now free as well. I would say that the bar, Fergus popping through, you're able to kind of do the same. But the Taxby is the one that you spit on. So if you would like to try to squeeze through the hole she spit acid through, you're welcome to. Or you can try to pick the lock if you'd like.
I will try to pick the lock.
Yes.
Take my spare lockpick out of the headband of my
Nice.
hat and try to pick the lock. Hang on, that's that one.
Okay, yeah, you're able to. It's not a terribly big lock. They thought you were bound, so you're able to pop it open and swing and catch them as they start to run. Now, I'm just interested to know how exactly, Great Ricardo, did you manage to get to the Galleria from the shoals and land yourself in jail?
Well, to the Galleria was quite simply my my sense of exploration. There were a few things happening that made me not quite safe. Now, no one knew, because we burned this house down. And
yeah.
so I thought I'd go rather somewhere else. And also this whole underwater kingdom thing I thought I would find there turned out to be just a huge dragon. So I thought I'd tried my luck elsewhere. And I heard rumors about this Galleria where they had entertainment and things. So
Yes.
one of my sidelines is as a magic performer, so as a stage magician. And so I had myself hired on to perform at the entertainment district. And during a break in the performance, I did my other sideline in my business, which is selling cheap tat to impressed wealthy people, disguised by minor illusions to look like really impressive and valuable trinkets or valuable artifacts. Unfortunately, one of those illusions failed and I got found out, and I didn't quite rig it out in time for a change.
What? So yeah, they caught you and they tossed you in. Now, as you're running, these things are playing through your head and you're thinking about from how did you get here in this situation with all of these mutated gold at you, and you recognize Finbar.
What is he doing here?
Right. As you're like running, you're like,
run,
Finbar.
I know that half elf, right? Now, Rundar, explain to me how exactly did you manage to get yourself trapped into the bowels of the Galleria?
Well, having heard the horror stories of the brothels, I decided to stay away and found a willing participant, and we snuck into a back alley. Unfortunately, one of the tax collectors found us and deemed we were putting on an unauthorized public show for profit.
Oh, yes.
We were unwilling to pay the tax,
Mm.
and so
It's a high tax.
yes.
And you were found out, and so they tossed you down here.
Yep, tossed me in the clinker.
Man, oh man. Well, Fergus, what do you remember? Last time you checked, you were just snoozing next to Ari. You're on mute, man. There you go.
I remember seeing a dragon, and then I remember being very tired. And then I remember hearing I turn invisible. And then I remember someone talking about Ari, about how she'd make a great sale, like maybe she was going to be an entertainer or something, I don't know. And then Ari and me got split up, and then I had a black sack over me, and then I got gagged. And at first I thought Finbar had taken me to a brothel again, but then I figured out that actually I was in a. I don't even know where I am. Where the hell am I?
You don't know where you are. And you're super disoriented. That's when you try to kind of figure out, like, how did I get here? I was just sleeping, right? As you guys are all running towards the end. And the more that you pass, the more of them start to, like, sniff the air, and they become more and more violent. And they move in these kind of crickety ways in their mutated bodies as they will come up to the edge and, like, reach out to grab you as they're vomiting all this gold. And you look behind you, and the path is just covered. It's covered in molten gold. And at the far end, you hear these two very deep voices go, "Hey, where are they going?" And they point and they begin running at you. They're wearing dark cloaks, but they're easily 300 feet or so behind you since you guys have a head start.
I'm conflicted. I want gold, but I also want to run away.
Actually, why don't all of you, for seeing that much molten gold, roll me a Constitution?
Oh, God.
Regular roll for me.
Damn these greedy eyes.
Yeah, regular for now.
I rolled an 8.
Look at you, Fergus.
Why did everyone else roll good except me?
Yeah, except for you. So all of you had that moment where you turn around and literally just to check behind you as they yell, and your breath is taken away by that much liquid gold. Like it's everywhere. The ground is just covered in it. And there is this like flash of greed that washes over your body to reach for it, but you just know that putting your hand in molten gold is like a bad idea. Now, Finbar, you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot since you've been in the Galleria. This is just the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. And the need to have some is beginning to overtake you.
I like one way, I'm going away from them and I'm like, run, and I come back another way, go.
Go. Yeah, you're like, I'm so torn. And you can't decide what's better for you. As I'm sure one of them running behind you, because Finbar got the head start, like bumps into you and keeps you moving. But it was just enough to make you hesitate if you were going to reach out. Now, I need everybody to make a survival because you're running at full speed, dodging gold molten vomit. Oh, finally, from Finbar. Running.
That's
He's
one
good
thing
at
he has an uncanny knack of doing is surviving.
He is, yeah. Okay. All right. So nobody falls flat on their face. That's good. You guys managed to actually run for quite a while until you kind of reach the end. And all of the creatures have kind of followed you as you've made it to the end. And there is a doorway out, and it leads into a very dark, unlit hallway. Now, you guys are pretty out of breath, so you're not going to be able to run anymore. Like, you have made a mad dash about a quarter of a mile to the other end of this place. So, you guys wanted to stop and take a breather. You are being chased, but you guys had a major head start.
So Fergus runs up to Finbar and just like touches him on the arm and goes, "Tag, you're it."
What? I want that gold.
Is the door locked? Anyway,
it's an open passageway. It's like it's a big tunnel, dark tunnel in front of you.
Well, I can see in the dark, so I'm just like, oh,
okay. Yeah, so you see.
I was flying. I'm just like, nah, I'm just gonna land. Calm down.
Right, so you see it does, it goes about 50 feet and then makes like a bend. It bends around. But this looks like it's not as finished as everything else you've seen. It's definitely not the room you just came from. It looks more like a hand-dug tunnel, like that was just pickaxed out and left unfinished.
I'm gonna head in a little bit and let the group behind me, but I'm not that far. I'm just in to see if there's any danger up ahead.
Yeah, from what you can tell, no. This looks like maybe it leads to another section of this, like it was just a makeshift tunnel that leads to another section of this lower level of the Galleria.
I'm just gonna stand in there and like wait for the others to come. Just like
yeah. Cool.
That's fine.
You guys are kind of gathered there, and Fergus, were you saying something to Finbar? I can't remember.
Just tag, you're it.
Just accurate.
It's not what we're doing. They're trying to vomit on us, Fergus. We need to get out of here.
Oh, they weren't trying to vomit on me. Finbar, I'm worried about Ari. I think she's gone back to the entertainment district where people are trying to, sell her and stuff. And then,
where she's at home, Fergus.
Yeah, but they tried to kill us, and maybe they tried to kill her too. And it didn't feel like the entertainment sector.
Well, you know what? Everyone here is trying to kill us too, Fergus. So I can empathize. Who am I kidding? I don't feel empathy.
But you're Finbar. You can handle all of that.
That's right. But now we'll get to Ari maybe next week. And right now, she can handle herself, Fergus. She's twice the man both of us are.
And Fergus sort of like looks at him with them big puppy eyes, and I'd like to make a persuasion with the big puppy eyes if you'll allow.
Just to make him feel it. Oh, and at 23, Finbar feels that guilt. He feels it. He knows deep down that you have to keep moving, but he does feel the guilt of not wanting to go save Ari right this minute.
We'll get to her soon, I promise, Fergus.
Okay.
Let's get out of here. Who are you all?
Yeah. You should. I don't know. Would you remember the Great Ricardo? Finbar? I don't know.
Never met him in my life.
Never. I don't know that cat.
He didn't remember Treepelt last time. He thinks she's an ex.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, this is my former lover, Treepelt here. This is my former friend, Fergus, and I am Finbar. Right.
So I bite Finbar when he says lover.
Love bites, you see.
So you guys can now see the people that were chasing you. They've kind of caught up in the midst of you catching your breath. And there are two of them, and they're pretty big humanoids. Why don't you all roll a perception to see that if you can see any detail under their big hooded cloaks. Oh, kitty cat eyes on it. You see immediately that they are a similar, like, scaly type creature, but they're not mutated. They've actually are more like a half dragon. They are, like, you can see their, like, horns coming out of the front of it, and their scales have, starts here and go all the way back down their neck, unlike the kind of mutated ones that stop.
And so Fergus is sort of...
Yeah, and they are running full speed
run.
towards you. Swords in hand, I might add.
Right.
Oh, tree pelt. You also see that tree pelt. Go ahead, Rindar.
They just ran through pools of lava fine. I think we should go.
Yeah.
I agree.
You guys tear ass running
Yeah.
again and
Yep.
make it around the corner before they kind of get to the end. You can like hear their feet like splashing through the hot molten lava behind you. And as you round the corner, it gets darker and the tunnel narrows down to only being about wide enough where two people can walk like shoulder to shoulder. Who here has dark vision? Do you all have dark vision?
I have dark vision.
Everybody's got dark vision.
Yes.
Well,
Do half
damn.
elves have it? I don't know.
All right, so you guys are able to navigate without having to light anything, which is good. And you end up walking about 100 feet in this like dark, narrow cavern, unfinished cavern, and it opens up into a second story, like balcony. It's not a whole lot of as if this was not actually supposed to be a tunnel or somebody tunneled into this room in the past and you had found their tunnel. And it overlooks this giant, round, rotund room that is spectacular. And Fergus, you get that flash of like, I've seen this room before, but I've seen it from another angle. You saw it from the opposite side as you rounded the corner before you and Ari passed out 2 games ago. And you were right. You look around and you can't miss it. It's well lit. It's beautiful. In the center of the room looks to be maybe a well, but there's no water in it. It's about 5 foot by 5 foot and it raises off of the ground and has a stone lip around it. The mosaics in the floor are clearly dwarven, but they the pattern feeds in towards the well as if it has some kind of importance to it. And on the ceiling is some of the most beautiful fresco you've ever seen. It goes all the way around the rotunda, and you realize what Fergus was talking about because in it is a beautiful picture hand painted picture of a gold dragon.
Oh.
Ooh.
I really thought that was a real dragon.
No.
Oh, you have no idea how much of a relief this is.
Did look real from right there.
It was your exhaustion.
Is the water flowing or is it just
There is no
sitting in
water.
the-
There is no
Oh,
water. It just looks to be an empty well from your angle as you look down at the room.
Oh, right.
I'm just like kind of flying so I can let more people on the ledge because I don't know how necessarily big the ledge is for like.
Yeah,
all-
sure. Yeah, you guys kind of come out. You're kind of on your bellies almost, like leaning over it, looking down down and up at the room. And yeah, you're like hovering above them in your state. And as you guys are kind of taking this all in, why don't all of you roll? I would take an insight, I would take an investigation, or even a history maybe roll, whichever one might be better for you based on the fresco on the ceiling. Ooh, Rundar and
Nope.
Fergus.
Not one of mine.
It's the prettiest thing your kitty eyes have ever seen. Hey. Okay, good. All right, so the three of you start to take the story in that's actually been painted on the ceiling. And what you're able to kind of decipher from it is that this gold dragon in the image is actually not attacking, it's sleeping. And the imagery around it suggests, hey, nice tree poet, you're getting this too. So suggests that the dwarves tapped into a room with a sleeping dragon, with this gold dragon that was asleep. And the imagery shows that they have built the catacomb atop his sleeping chamber in this mountain. And so you see all of these, like, some of them are frescoes of them laying their kin to rest here in the Galleria. Some of them are of the dwarves like digging. And then definitely this just beautiful image of the sleeping dragon in this empty chamber.
That doesn't seem healthy.
Everybody roll a perception as you stand around and you guys are all like,
It looks like a puzzle.
yeah, don't know. Oh,
So
whoa, Treeple doesn't hear it.
Checking
the
out
sleepy
Finbar
dragon
again.
made all the dwarves die?
I think that might be it.
So I would say, okay, so really Finbar, you're the only one that hears, you hear footsteps coming. Now, the way the room is set up on the bottom level, there are doors or archways all around the exterior of the room that lead to about 7 or 8 different hallways. And you can hear footsteps coming. You probably hear about 20 or 30 of them at this point as they're growing in number, coming from all different directions as if they're convening on this one point.
People are coming. We don't have much time. Somebody solve the puzzle.
Can Fergus walk up to Tree Pelt and sort of like tug on her and say, "Why do your people hate you?"
I'm just like flying and I look down at him. It's like, what are you talking about?
The dragon people. You're a dragon people, and the dragon people were chasing you.
I what?
Fergus notices for the first time that she's also furry. Yeah, she's not just any dragonborn, she's a furry dragonborn.
This changes things.
I thought it would, like, you get close enough, you tug at her and you like touch her leg and you're like, oh!
Oh, you're sticky.
She's furry! Yeah, and so you realize that maybe she's not exactly like that, or, you know, liked by them, I guess, in those regards. And as you kind of do this, does anybody want to try to hide? Or are you guys gonna just hang out?
I am turning
I'm just like flying in midair. I'm like the most easily spotted thing ever.
Or if anybody that wants to try to hide can roll as survival. There's enough of a lip where all of you can kind of lay on your bellies and peek out if you wanted to.
I'm going to turn myself invisible.
Or I'm sorry, a survival or a stealth, I'd take either.
Oh.
No. Okay. Finbar said solve the puzzle, so Fergus is standing right in the open with a sheet of paper and he's solving that puzzle. Like,
all right.
Dragon equals dead dwarves.
Equals
gold
don't.
equals
I like
herpes.
flew up and found like another higher up ledge, and I'm just like.
Yeah, and you're definitely above them on like a second story, so as long as you're not making noise. So you guys don't do a terribly good job of hiding, but you are on a second story, and they're not necessarily looking for you. And you notice that out of all these different hallways, the collectors from the individual districts are convening, almost as if they're here for a meeting. And each group takes a different hallway as they come in. Each of them of it, and they stand at about 5 in number apiece per group. And you'll notice that there are 9 groups collected, and there's one gentleman in a dark black robe that stands off to the side, which you can only assume represents the black market since they don't have their own set of collectors. And they all come into the room, and once they're all there, they go silent. As if waiting for something.
Equals well water? I don't know.
God.
I'll roll another survival because I'm just flying. So
Yeah. I mean, you rolled a pretty high survival. That 17 definitely kept you. I suspect you kind of hugged the wall or like the dome of it to hide. Now, Fergus, on the other hand, is not, and now he's actively talking out loud.
I'm reaching up and grabbing him and pulling him.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, make me a dex for that to see if you could grab his mouth before he gets too many words out.
Finbar's invisible. It's somebody help the idiot.
Yeah, 12 is enough because it's not like Fergus was trying to fight you on it. You just gotta put your hand over his mouth as they are standing there in this total silence. All you can hear is the breathing of all of them, and you know you can definitely see the antiques market. They got their own makeshift armor. The kind of farmers and livestock, more shepherd like, represent Maker's District. The lovely, beautiful black leather clad drow women that you met in the entertainment district all stand there in a group. The rotund, kind of greasy men from the food court district stand next to them, and they all simply stare at this empty well in front of you. And out of one of the hallways behind them, you hear the single footsteps of some kind of humanoid as it walks in, and it is wearing a similar black cloak to the one of the half dragons that were chasing you earlier. And as he enters, everybody looks to him. He pulls his hood back, drops it, his giant dragon head atop this kind of more humanoid body, and armor stands there underneath this cloak. And he says, "Well, report." And one person from each of the groups step forward as they begin to kind of report to him, and they do it very humbly, in fact, very not collector style. And one of them says, "We are having issues with a group of shoppers who have ruined many of our districts." The food court collector pipes up and he goes, "Yeah, they haven't cleaned their tavern yet. I've been telling them they've got to clean the tavern and they're just not cleaning it."
I'm never cleaning that tavern.
The black market guy steps up and goes, "They destroyed the arena They killed the Cyclops.
Sounds familiar.
Yes. And you notice that they're all bringing up things that you lot have destroyed since entering the Galleria and really just fucked up. And as they're beginning to talk over one another, they get louder and they're like, yeah, they did that. Yeah, me too. Yeah, they killed 25 grannies. How do I explain that to families? You know, and they're getting kind of irate in their conversation.
No responsibility for that one. That wasn't me.
The dragon lifts his hand and he says, quiet! And they all silence, and he says, I don't want your pitiful excuses. Grunrundi does not want your pitiful excuses. Find them. Kill them. And as he says this, you hear the pitter-patter of 2 feet run up behind him. It's the 2 that were chasing you, that you lost. And they say, they are here. They're here in the basement of Grunrundi. And he looks at them and he says, go. Find them.
Uh-oh.
And the lot of all 45 45 of these groups of collectors set off in different directions searching for you in the halls in which you are currently residing.
Oh, we have made so many enemies.
I think the best place for us to be is right here. They all just left.
They're all in
They
the
won't
same
look here
place.
again.
Also, Israel gives a wild magic surge full of dragon. Well done.
Oh!
Get 'em.
Oh! For the wild magic surge for not tree pelt, right? Like my
Oh
dragon.
full of dragon.
Okay.
Make no mistake.
It becomes
no
immune to
mistake.
death while sleeping.
He got a 3209.
3209 reads, next person to whom the caster speaks is unable to eat for 1d4 days. Whoever talks to this guy, which is they all just spoke to him, right?
They all just spoke to him. They don't know it, but I guess they're all technically
They're not
gonna
eating for a while.
yeah. So they
can
set
live for
off
1d4
into the hallways and begin their search for you in this underground cavern maze of mazes. How would you like to proceed? The black market, the guy from the black market district does stay where he's at after everybody splits, and he walks up gingerly to the empty well and peers inside of it as he looks straight down and reaches in his cloak and pulls out a big bag of gold, opens it up and dumps the whole thing down the empty hole, and you don't hear the gold hit the bottom. It just falls.
Yeah. It's a big well.
Shall we go down there? There's bound to be lots of gold. Look how much he just poured down.
I would love to like
How do
try
we
to
get out of here?
fly out and grab him, because if we have him, we have like leverage. But what do I have to roll to?
Okay, you want to go? You want to attack him?
Because I want to like dive bomb down and just try to grab him and like silence him before he says anything.
Okay, well he's not. I was about to say he's not gonna say anything. He doesn't even know you're there.
He's like the only one there though, right? Like.
Yes, he's all by himself
I
now.
try to grab him. But
Okay.
What do I have to roll?
So, you're going to want to roll. Are you flying down to get him?
Yeah.
Okay. I would take an athletics or just a straight strength check, whichever, and he's going to make one against you because you're trying to grapple him and you're trying to pick him up. Oh, and you win. He does not see you coming. And you'll notice as you pick him up, he's terribly light because there's little to no flesh on his body. He's almost just skin and bones, like he's frail old man.
I'm like holding his mouth and I like fly back up to the group. I got one.
She's now flying in front of you holding this like old skeletal man.
From Dunabelle.
Oh, wow, you're brutal.
Did we want one?
What?
I mean,
don't know.
there's no meat on this for me to eat, so I don't know what I'm doing with this. What do you want me to do?
I mean...
Well, now he knows that we're here, so we can ask him some questions and then we can throw him down the well.
Are you gonna release his mouth? Or your hand from his mouth?
No, I'm still holding him till
Okay.
the question.
I'll draw my rapier out and put it to his throat and say, if you scream, then I'll kill you.
He leans in and you see the kind of grayish, like flaky skin, and he leans out from his and he says, you can't understand what he says from under a hand, but you can tell he's not afraid of you, unless you're trying to intimidate him.
Now listen here, my friend the Great Avocado is going to ask you a few questions. Isn't that right? Because he knows what's happening.
First thing I'm going to do is I cast Charm Person on him.
Okay, give it a go. You have to roll high. What do I get to roll against it, right? It's
Yep.
It's a Constitution.
I say to him, you should watch out because my other friend here, the Great Roomba. I point to Runda. He's a
DC 13.
Oh, that's what I gotta beat. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't. He does not beat it. You charm the pants off of him.
My friend.
He you can see that his eyes almost like glaze over in a more nonchalant kind of caring way. And he tips his head as if he's listening.
So what we need to do now is we need to get out of here and away from all your other friends. So if you would be so kind enough and lead us.
His bony kind of crinkly hand comes out. It's got a long fingernail that's been growing so long it kind of curls under. And he says, there is only 2 ways out.
As his mouth is still muffled because
Good. So we just need one. Give us the shortest one.
Only 2 ways out, please.
He turns around and points right at the well.
I know a way out. I know another one.
That goes down far too far.
Death is not an option currently.
Where's the other one?
Even though I can fly. Yes.
I know another one. You have to get on the ships on the black market.
He looks at Fergus as if like, how do you know this information, little one? And you hear him begin to speak again. He says, it is true. You can always sell yourself into slavery.
Slavery? I thought they were going on holiday.
He says, slavery.
Ah!
Does he jazz hands?
Yeah, I know. It seemed like the appropriate time for jazz hands. I'd been building to the moment. I earned it, damn it.
I just growl in his ears because I don't want slavery again.
Right.
Lead us.
Yeah, and he says, the other option is there. There is another way into the black market.
You mean we don't have to go through the toilets?
No, you don't.
I gently put my arm around his shoulder and lead us.
Well, you guys are on the second story.
Right.
Of this place. Now you can backtrack and go try to find another way out, or you can drop.
Can't go back. They're searching for us back there.
It's true. He goes, back is not a good option.
Yes, can't stop, won't stop. Now,
Right.
Onwards.
Well, you know this place better than we do, so show us the shortest and safest way out.
He says, I am currently floating above your heads. I can't do that. As he looks up to Tree Pelt, who I'm guessing is like holding him midair.
Let
Can you
him down.
let him go, please?
I'm afraid if I let him go, he'll run.
Just let him down.
No, he won't.
He's charmed. How long does a charm spell last?
An hour.
Is it I was about to say an hour.
An hour.
Okay, it's an hour.
So do you want me to do runs, like to try to fly people down?
Yeah, so you're able to fly him down, and you can fly everybody down pretty easily. You guys managed with her flying power to make it to the floor and really get to see the fresco at its fullest, like just glory from where it's meant to be viewed, which is the center of the room. Does anybody want to look down the well?
Yes.
I go look down the well.
Everybody wants to look down the well.
Come on, Roman.
I actually want to just in Fergus's through this tumultuous series of events, has he managed to retain his flying kobold?
You don't know where it is. It is there. I mean, unless it is. Did you leave it invisible? It's like you can't leave an invisible parked car in any lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nightmare.
Yeah.
You left it in the kobold
I think I
lot.
probably left it playing with all the other kobolds, actually.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
kobold.
it like went
played
off in the stampede of kobolds.
Ah.
Be free, kobold, be free.
I just picture like Fergus jumping on Tree Pelt's back. It's like, you're my kobold now.
Yeah.
This can
So
work.
yeah, not at the moment. You don't see it. So when you guys peer down, so whatever your dark vision range is, 60 feet, 120 feet, you see that far, and it's still dark. It's still like real dark, like so far down. This well is just a hole into the earth.
That's
I think
not.
we should go to the ships.
But the ships mean slavery, and I do jazz hands. Slavery.
Slavery.
Slavery's bad.
Finbar, you
Anything
don't
but
buy
going
anything
down the
anyway.
background.
If
What was that?
there's
No, go ahead, Runda.
if there's slaves, there's slavers. And instead of being slaves, we could pretend to be slavers.
Yes, pretend to be slavers. That's a good
I'm
idea.
just like growling at this idea.
Well,
Because
Treebelt,
Dragonborn.
Treebelt, would you like to go down that big dark well of eternal doom? That looks bad down there.
I'm like ready to push Finbar and like.
And you
keep
push
doing
Finbar
it
down.
now.
I was about to say, yeah.
I can
I mean-
fly. I'll have you know I've been down farther shoots than this. I tell you, this is not the longest shaft I have encountered in my time, nor will it be the last. Now,
Shut your tongue before I cut it out.
oh, things you do to my tongue. Now, let us think here for a moment. Before we dive down the well, slavery is bad. We can all agree, not a cool thing. Really, really gauche. It used to be a cool thing a couple of years ago. Got into it, but
It's not cool anymore.
not really cool anymore.
How do your factories get manned?
Now, what I'm trying to say is, when it completely freezes over. What I'm trying to say is, if we masqueraded as slavers for a time, we could do good because we could free some slaves. Rather than put them into slavery, we could pretend that we're slavers, bring some slaves with us, even though they're probably going to be dirty, unintelligent, and uneducated. We'll put up with them. And then, when we're out, we let them free.
I mean, you could always make them work for you in your stores.
Absolutely. I will find them gainful employment if they ask for it.
You hear the charmed kind of frail man let out a raspy laugh from underneath his
Thank you, High
cloak
Police.
as if he found something that Finbar said extraordinarily funny.
Everything I say is extraordinarily funny.
And he points at you and he says, "You don't look like slavers."
What they look
Well,
like.
He says, "You smell of fresh, clean meat."
Oh, I can do dirty if you need me to.
And he says, "You'll never pass as slavers. Remember," as he holds up like one finger and it like wiggles in air as he can't hold his hand still. "I run the black market."
Right, well, if you run the black market, then surely you can get us in.
"Yes, I can." And he walks over very gingerly again and peers down the hole and he says, "That is not the way."
Hang on. If he runs the black market, then if we kill him, there's no more black market, and then there's no more slaves. And go.
No, I like the black market.
Simply not how anything works.
that logic is not sound, Fergus.
If you kill a person, you don't kill a place, Fergus. It's an abstract concept. I'll teach you about it one day.
But we killed the rats and the inn owner, and then we got the inn. Maybe the same thing will happen with the black market. Maybe we'll run the black market.
I mean, I killed so many grandmas. There's still grandmas.
Wait a minute. He's a dragon, right?
This guy is human.
Oh, he's a human, right? And
He's a very old, frail human who looks sick.
And I'm a handsome half-elf, but half-human,
Correct.
who happens to have a disguise kit. Now, if we were to offer this gentleman, but I were to take his clothes, I could masquerade as the leader of the black market, and then get us all inside. So, we're going to need to, first things first, strip him naked. Secondly, throw him down the well. Step 3, I put his clothes on. Step 4, profit.
So I was right. We kill him, and then we own the black market.
That's almost completely wrong, and at the same time, correct.
This is ridiculous. Okay, So you can tell under the charm spell that he recognizes that you guys are talking about killing him, but he can't do anything about it. He gets that look in his eye of like, he's fighting so hard on this charm spell. And he looks to the great Ricardo as if looking for an answer as to what he should do. He's in so much turmoil.
Just show us the way, and you can go.
Yes.
He looks at he looks
out
at
of it.
Oh, hell.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. He's harmless.
He says, come, as he kind of like waves you on down into one of the 9 different entryways. And he's just kind of walking at a pretty slow pace, but it's almost as if his feet glide. He has not hesitated on any of this like cobbled path that's been left. And as you continue through this hallway, it's a lot more finished. And you notice even in its dim light that there are just beautiful mosaics and like down the wall and pictographs that have been left. Some of them are cracked and old and crumbling. Some of them have held up better than others, but it is definitely a dwarven architecture, and it's really beautiful. And as he walks past, he runs his skinny, thick, like pointy fingernail down the wall, and it across a few of them, a few of the images as he walks past, as if acknowledging their importance, maybe.
Fergus copies him.
Doing what he's doing, yeah.
I'm just like watching from the back, and I'm just like slowly tilting my head because I don't understand necessarily too much of that, but I'm just like, there's something going on and it clicks in my head, but I don't know too much. Do
you want to roll an insight to see if you can gather, or an investigation to gather more information?
When I find that.
Right there under your skills. It should be on the left. Oh, perfect. At a 9. You don't get a whole lot other than it's dwarven stuff. But again, you are able to pick up on the fact that he finds whatever these pictographs are, or the story these pictographs are trying to tell, and these mosaics of importance. And you guys keep walking. And he takes you deeper and deeper into this. And at one point, you get to an intersection, and he stops all of you, and he looks left and right, as if he hears something but can't quite put his finger on what it is. Would you guys like to maybe roll a perception?
What you smell?
What do your old man knows? Oh, hey. Nope. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah. So,
Fergus is still copying him.
I was about to say, yeah, Fergus, you're too busy running your finger down the wall to even notice. The rest of you definitely pick up that coming from your left at this 4-way cross are the running feet of a group of people, and they are coming your direction. And this charmed man turns around and looks at Ricardo as if trying to just needing direction. And he says, "We have to go that way."
Where are they coming from?
The same direction. He points to the direction the footsteps are coming.
Let's wait on the corners.
And he almost he merges with the shadow.
How many?
Roll. I would take an insight on that if you want to roll an insight to see if you can decipher how many feet you hear. At a 14, yeah, you hear it's one group, so it's about 5. You hear about 5 feet. Or 5 pairs of feet running through this hallway.
5 feet.
5, yeah, only 5. Somebody's missing a leg. You hear 5 sets of feet running down like your direction, and you can hear them kind of stop every once in a while, and, like look around, like they pause and then they take off again. But they do seem to be running in a pack or a group, as if maybe of some kind of military training. In that fact.
What of our stuff do we still have?
You were left with pretty much everything but your gold. If you had gold on you, it's gone.
All right. Okay. I'll take out my rope. Throw the other end to Finbar.
Okay.
So that the rope is laid out on the ground across the tunnel.
Okay.
And then basically when they come in, we just go wank.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
I'll point this out to Finbar.
All right. So you guys trying to do this stealthily?
Yep.
Okay, so anybody that's involved, so I'm just gonna say,
We can do this now. 2 people on each side.
yeah. So
make sure we can
basically,
figure out
everybody that
who's
wants to be
coming.
involved, roll me a stealth, just to make sure that you do it secretly. All right, and then I would take a dexterity from everybody to just kind of see how well you all work together, but you can take it with advantage.
I
All
will.
of them.
I
Hey!
will.
Can I like
Hey!
try to hide in the shadows and like wait for them with my weapon?
Yeah, totally. Just make that stealth, and then we'll hide. So stealths are all great so far. You guys were like really on point this time around. Treepo, it's okay, but you took the shadows. You're not trying to be in the walk path with the rope and stuff. So you're able. Yeah.
I will go down the hallway so they will actually see me, so they don't pause as they come to the intersection. They will see someone and increase their speed.
Bravo. So you set yourself up like
Oh, so
as
brave.
bait. He's so brave. It's so cute. Your gnome love is so cute for each other. Okay. Yeah, all of you hide and manage to get there, and you've pulled the rope. Are you want it to like flat on the ground? Are you gonna wait to pull it at just the right time?
Yep.
Can Fergus use his mimic shoes to walk up the wall and onto the ceiling?
I mean, I don't see why not. Sure.
That's what Fergus is going
Can
to be
you
doing.
tell me what the mimic shoes look like to make that a possibility? Because I mean, he's not in like tap shoes or something. Like, what do they look like to get him?
They're the mimic shoes I got a few weeks back that were tiny mimics, and
Right. On your
I
feet.
used the I've forgotten what it's called. It's like a adhesive ability, which was the only ability that mimics have that would be useful in shoes. To basically give myself spider climb at the time, if that's still cool.
That's fine. Bring it on. Why not? So Fergus like doop 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 up to the ceiling, and now he's hanging from it. And you guys are kind of set up to capture these people. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll a perception for the group of them.
Oh no, is that the plan?
Is that the plan? I'm going to roll. I'm going to like start by just seeing if they hear you. At a 21, they have a feeling, they get that gut feeling something's coming up ahead, but they can't see you. They don't see anything because all of you are hidden. And as they round the corner, they notice the gnome with no problem. And they say, hey! And you see that it's actually a group of them in some armor, which you can only assume comes out of the Maker's District. They all have well-made swords and fresh armor. And they say, hey! Don't move, little one. We're coming for you. And one of them starts running towards the other, and the other ones begin trailing behind him. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
I give them a raspberry.
Yeah, egging them on, and all of them go and start running towards you at full speed. Really. Here's what I need. Whoever has hands on the rope needs to roll a strength check.
Okay.
Because you're about to try to trip 5 grown men in armor with a single rope. Let's make sure you can actually handle it. And I think, is it Finbar that's holding the other end with you? Did we decide that? Who's holding it?
I can be doing that, sure.
Yes, Finbar's holding it. Give me a strength, Finbar.
Oh dear.
Oh, okay, a 15.
18. I'm
18!
so strong.
Well, dang. All right, here's what's going to happen. They're going to roll a dex because you guys have actually tripped all of them. And just see if... how they do here. Probably not very well in this armor. At a 17, so they don't catch themselves. The ones in the front, which are 3 of the 5, are face planted. The other 2 behind them are doing that, and they go to fall, and one of them like knees the other guy in the back, and the other guy like tips over to his side. One of them's on his back now with his armor kind of like rolling around like a turtle needing to be tipped over, and they are all prone on the ground.
So what Fergus was thinking up here is that if they all happen to fall over, it'd be the ideal opportunity to lightning bolt all of them.
Well, have at it, my man. Make it so. Oh my god. Okay. Ow, yeah. Wow, all of them?
Stroke of lightning in a line 100 feet long and 5 feet wide. Each creature in the line must make a dex save or take 8d6 damage or half as much on a save.
Well, they're gonna fail it because they can't make a dex. They're laying on top of each other in a cuddle puddle, so they're gonna take that damage.
Yeah.
They just took 29 damage.
Aha!
You have electrocuted them. They're all wearing like metal. It just like as they all are like laying next to one another. And at 29, one of their heads explodes and splatters all over the guy next to him, who's like still like and shaking. Blood's like running out of his mouth. And they all, as the spell kind of ends, they all go like limp. And you now have a pile of 5 collectors that you've killed in the middle of this this intersection.
Once again, you have encountered the great Fergus! And I'm gonna just do an acrobatics check to try and land on the floor gracefully. 7, I fall over.
Yeah, you land. Yeah, it's not graceful at all. You actually like bounce off their bodies and like roll down the pile as you gain your footing. So the guy from the black market that you have still partially charmed goes, "This is bad," and looks right at all of the dead collectors.
Let's go.
And he says, "This way," still under your spell, and points to the hallway in which they just came.
Hang on, wait, you guys, wait. Couldn't you big people wear the clothes?
No.
Oh, Fergus wants their clothes, and it's too big.
We could
They're too
disguise
big for me.
Not a bad idea for me and Ricardo and Treepod. We could be in disguise.
No.
Yeah.
Why not, Treepod? You're a furry dragonborn. You literally stand out like a sore thumb.
Why don't I be the slave?
I like this
There are
idea.
no slaves. All of these are collectors. These are the people that would run the individual districts.
Wouldn't there be one of the slave owners in the black market one?
Yeah, but we're not in the black market yet. This is still under the catacombs of Grundrundi. So they're chasing you guys, each of the individual districts.
Yeah, but if we're putting them as a disguise and then we walk out there, couldn't I be disguised as a slave so it doesn't look too...
Oh! Yeah, I mean, you're not walking out yet. You guys are they're still chasing you. You're still in the bowels of this place. So, but yes, you're right. You could definitely do that when you free yourself of this cavern.
And hang on a minute, Finbar, what I can do is I can even give you the greeny eye things. And Fergus starts walking up to him and he's peeling scale skin, the green scale skin. Being like, I can give you the green eyes.
I swear to all of the gods, if you touch me.
You notice now it has spread all the way up his arm and is beginning to creep up his neck through here and like down his chest. Like his whole arm is just beginning to turn the scaly green.
You.
Flesh wound.
Yeah, just a flesh wound. Yeah, so do you guys want to take the armor?
Yep.
Okay, you're welcome. You can pull it off their dead bodies. You've left the collectors now naked in a pile in the middle of this 4-way intersection.
Well, just the sort of outer shell of the armor, not the whole.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So you guys can take what you want of it and put it on. Remember, if you're, I don't know what your classes are, but if you're into the armor, take it.
I'm not taking anything.
Nice.
Fergus fashions a new jacket out of one of their outfits.
My God. That greed insets again in you, just the want to have it your way, and you literally rip his like breastplate off, and you're little like Fergus, you don't have to tink it, you just like and you like squeeze it smaller, like bend it into frame into something that you can like wear. And
it looks like a blazer. Like it's metal, but it looks like a blazer. Okay.
You wear the chest plate like over your back like a turtle shell, and like you bend everything into place. Yeah, it's snazzy. I guess as snazzy as it can be. Yeah, that's pretty great.
As they're donning armor and stuff, I position the corpses in immature positions.
You like ass up, right? Yeah. You like, you guys make a scene out of these now dead bodies, as the black market collector that's still standing there under charm spell is like, you can see it in his eyes that you guys are you're in so much trouble. You're in so much trouble. You don't even know it yet. And he goes, "This way," and points down the hallway again.
Lead the way, old man.
And he keeps walking, and he leads you, down some similar type stuff. He's very quiet and stops occasionally to like listen for things, and he stops at one point, and from behind you, way down the hallway, you hear people go, "Hey! That's Barry!" And they've clearly found your like pile of bodies, precariously positioned. And a female voice rings out, and she says, "They must be close." And you hear the fainter patter of feet take off behind you guys in your direction.
Run!
Run! Yeah, and so he points, and he begins kind of like moving faster as you guys are running, and you start to notice that your feet are getting wet. Your feet are wet. Ooh. And you look down. Why doesn't everybody roll a perception? That wants to roll a perception.
Why don't we? Good idea.
Why don't you do that? Perceive more things.
24.
Oh, you are wading through sewage.
Oh, not my shoes.
Yeah, you start to notice that the water level is like rising as you're running. You can hear your feet start to actually like splash in about 2 inches of water. And Bimbar, you look down and this is absolutely sewage. And you notice the walls now. I know the walls now have these giant holes in them that are emptying out kind of disgusting water.
Yuck. Sewage, everyone.
I just like fly. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, out of it, yeah. And you guys keep walking, and it gets a little taller. It stops somewhere about 6 inches, but the water's beginning to rush at a faster pace as you continue down. Now, this guy that's leading the way is not stopping. He's just like...
Right. Is the water flowing in the same direction we're going or against us?
It's going in the same direction you're going, correct.
Fergus actually takes his shoes off and walks barefoot.
My precious.
He's gonna get tetanus or something.
Yeah, your mimics are like, they're like are spitting out like chunks of things.
He's already
Don't
got.
worry, I'll protect you.
He's already got enough diseases.
Oh God, it's so gross. And he says, come, faster. And you enter a little bit open. It like opens up a little bit because you guys have been riding down these like narrow paths and hallways as he leads you through, and he leads you to a more open space. And the water begins to convene, and it's rushing down this hole, which you can only imagine at one time might have been like a mining shaft, or like an air pocket for a mining shaft that's below you. But all the sewage from Grunrundi now feeds into this hole. And it's beginning to speed up and get faster and faster, obviously, as the water gets deeper. So everybody needs to make me, I would take a survival or a dex. Okay. Actually, let's take a dex because I want it to be physical. So dex or strength to not be washed away. Because it's going to wash your feet out from under you. Oh, guess who lands in poo?
10.
Oh, that's
special. The only one that does it is the... Yeah, you're flying, so yours doesn't count. But yeah. You're in the air, so you see this happen. You guys enter the room, and as you enter, it's almost like the way a big drain does. It and whirls around in a circle as it's feeding faster and faster into this hole. And as you step into the room, it takes Fergus's feet, Rundar's feet, and it takes Finbar's feet out from underneath you guys. And you land flat on your back and begin sliding through this slick room towards the center of this hole.
I throw the rope again.
Okay.
See if we can try and...
so throw the dex to see how well you do in terms of landing it in their general vicinity.
Okay.
Can I like fly over and try to grab one of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, with a 20, you nail it, and you actually ring the hole. Like the end of it rings the hole, so it's like stretched all the way perfectly across the width of it. And it's you nailed it. As they're kind of beginning to flush down this huge hole. Treepo, which one would you like to try to grab first?
They're all about the same distance.
They are.
I'm gonna grab Fergus. Because I'm not afraid to touch it.
Okay, so you go to grab Fergus. So make me a dexterity to grab him out of the water. At an 8, you miss him. You don't quite grab him as he like whooshes past you. Now the 3 of you are coming round on the rope. Would you like to try to grab it?
Yes.
Yeah, Pembar, you're just like covered in sewage. As it comes round. Yes, everybody make I would take a strength or a dex, whichever one you'd prefer. I will take either. I like
That's more like it.
If Fergus is trying to keep his shoes out of the water, does he do this as a normal roll? Or?
Yeah, I
Probably
mean,
why
so
he's
if you're holding them above your head and you're only going to grab with one hand, you can make it at disadvantage.
Could I have like snatched the shoes out of his hand when I missed him?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you missed him because he grabs your shoes. So she's now got your shoes out of the water. Perfect. So you don't have to make it, Fergus, with disadvantage.
I'm Fergus's new best friend. I saved his shoes.
Well, you only rolled an 11. So Fergus does not make it. He like slips right through the rope. Rundar and Finbar are like, they're on it. They've hung on to it. So what I need now to happen is for the Great Ricardo, do you want to pull him in?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so make a strength to start kind of like reeling them in.
Oh God. 3 pounds, help me.
Oh, yes! Holy cow. Yeah, you're able to just like this cat, even standing in water, you must look like the biggest badass as you're like reeling them in and pulling in their weight. All right, Fergus, you're gonna be able to come around one more time and grab the end of this rope as he's reeling them in. I'm gonna make another deck.
Isn't he like passing by me before he gets the rope?
Yeah, oh yeah, you want to grab him again? Yeah, totally. He would pass by you.
Dex?
Yeah, another dex to grab him. And honestly, if you wanted to make a dex, Fergus, to reach for her, I would give you both advantage on it.
Also, Tripo, you get a wild magic surge here from Christinic Shard.
Nice.
D10,000.
What is that? D10,000 from before?
Yeah, don't worry about it, Christinic. It converted from $5 to £5, but yeah, it's in GBP, the greatest British pound. It used to be greater. 3, 4, 1, 4. Let me look this up for you.
Ooh, here we go.
Oh boy, 3, 4, 1, 4.
Oh my god.
I've had this one before. Once per week, you can freeze up to 1 gallon of water.
I should do that.
Do that now.
I mean, you can do it. It's only a gallon though, so it'll be like a ball of. It'll be like an ice ball. If you do it in this room.
It's just like in the middle. It doesn't do anything. It just falls.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It like freezes. So you made the dex. Do you want to make a dex, Fergus, to reach for her as you come around?
Do I want to make a dex save?
No, Fergus. He's debating it.
Still celebrating about the shoes, but he will try and have some semblance of like self-preservation.
Flailing in celebration. Oh, okay. So between your flailing and her grab, you're able to grab him and like lift him up out of the water as he comes around, basically for the last time before he's going to be washed down. So you guys are floating above the water. Ricardo, the Great Ricardo, has been able to like reel you guys in. You've got your footing again, and you'll notice that your guide is now on the other side of the room. He's managed to like scour the edge and has gone through a door on the opposite side and is still just walking. He's doing what you charmed him and told him to do.
I just fly Fergus over there, and I'm like, we're following. They can catch up over there.
You guys kind of follow him, and he does have a little bit of a head start on you. He was not part of your toilet extravaganza. And you're still wading now through almost knee-deep sewage. Just so much sewage. And Fergus, that means it's up to like chest high on you, dude.
I feel like I never let go of him. I'm just like.
And you too, Rundar.
Oh yeah, if you're still holding me, like for Fergus, it doesn't matter about the setting. The jazz is playing in his head. He's looking at this furry dragon with like new eyes. Like, first you save my shoes,
yeah.
Then you save me. Like, and he's just taken. He's just like,
yeah.
And he doesn't like Finbar anymore. He's like, I got a new fame.
Yeah. So you guys you're able to catch up to your slow moving kind of old creakily guide. And as he goes to enter a new space, he stops and he says, shh. Be quiet. As he begins to step into the next room. So I need all of you to make a stealth. And not fail it. No.
Fergus absent-mindedly starts humming Careless Whisper.
Yeah, the only person that actually made the stealth is Finbar. And Finbar, you take his heat as you guys like slowly step into this like water-filled empty cavern room. But the rest of you do not. And the water, all the sewage water, you just can't get your feet to not splash. And you guys like as you enter this room, and he turns around and goes, "No!" as a horde of dire bats on the ceiling wake up.
Oh God.
I'm just like flying and just like he's humming and it's just a big noise and now there's bats. So much fun stuff.
And you see them, they're hanging on the ceiling. You can't miss them because when they awake, they let out this like screech as their like beady little bat eyes open up and they stare down at the lot of you giant.
Can I sit after that some?
I'm sorry? Yeah, we're gonna roll. Yeah, we're about to roll initiative. Yep, when we get. Yep. So we are now technically, because they're gonna drop down and attack you guys. There are 5 of them on the ceiling as they drop down into flight. And the room you're standing in, the ceiling is about 40 foot. It's like a giant cavern shaped kind of like an egg in shape. And you guys are standing at the center, still standing in sewage. It looks like it's pouring in from the walls into this room. And we are going to roll that initiative. So everybody do that. Do that thing.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Ooh. They too have to roll for initiative. Oh my goodness.
I feel this whole time Treepelt's still holding Fergus. So like, I'm not letting this go. This is mine now. She has possession issues. Why she tries to kill Finbar.
Yep,
She's
for
100% like snuggling up to this as well.
All right, yeah. Okay, let me roll for our dire bats here, or giant bats, I guess is really what they are. What do they have? What do you got for me? Ooh, they got things. I didn't mean to roll the d20, so I only really rolled the 3. Yeah, so that actually would put them first. So the bats are first, and they surprise you as they come off the ceiling, all 5 of them, into your space, and they're going to drop down off the ceiling and target each of you individually because I can do that. And I think they have to use their whole turn because of the distance. I'm going to check on that. Correct. So they basically are able to come into range of you in their full speed, and the first one will make but they're flying, so they go even further. So they're gonna make an attack. So they're gonna start with Rundar as one of them comes down and goes to make a bite attack on you. That is what they do. 15 to hit. Rundar will hit. And
that's not good.
Bats. It literally lands, almost goes like it's gonna go to the ground, and then leans in and just latches into your little tiny arm. Yes, computer. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so you take 3 points of bite damage from this nasty giant bat that has latched into you. The next one's going to attack Finbar. And we'll do the same thing. It's gonna fly down and attempt to bite you as its first means of attack. At a 12?
No.
Oh, ha! Yeah, you're able to get his teeth no out of your face. And Treepelt, one's gonna come down, and since you've got your hands, around a tiny person, they're going to latch into your shoulder, the backside of your shoulder. On a nat 20. Oh, damn. Okay. It's all right. Nobody panic. Just gonna deal some damage. 5 points. Yep. So 11 points, basically, of damage you take on the back as it just and latches into you. And next up is Fergus. It's going to be kind of awkward. I'm going to give them actually disadvantage on this one only because you're swinging from Treepelt, who's now been bit by another one. It's just a chaotic, fabumbled mess. So a 6 to hit won't hit. Fergus is swinging too much. He's swinging too much. And last but certainly not least is Ricardo. One comes down and attempts to put a bite into you at a 16.
16 hits.
Okay. So, yep, it's going to drop 8 points of damage into you.
Uncanny dodge.
Oh, nice. Do it.
So that's on you 4.
Cool. All right. And now we loop through. I actually attacked each of you in the correct order. So Rundar, you're up first.
Okay, I will pull my short swords and attack. I get 4 attacks total.
Yes. Nice hit.
Ooh.
Wow. Woof. Let me check that 13 though. I think that's the only one. Let me double check. The 13 hits. It meets it. So all 4 of them. You're just like stabbing them. Dang, it do. Holy cow. This is not going well for me. Okay. Yeah.
And then, as much as I dislike it, I'm going to crouch down into the water to make my target, to make me less of a target.
Well, would you like to tell me how you kill this bat 4 times hitting it with your sword? Because you did.
Okay, then with both swords, and I will go right down, take off its wings, and crisscross through.
Yeah. And you do it beautifully. And it does. It like splashes in the water at your feet, gets sewage all in your face, but its body is now kind of like floating in the like 6 or 8 inches of water. Fantastic. Finbar.
Yes, it is my turn. There's a bat in my face, I believe.
There is a bat in your face.
I would like to rectify this.
Please, debat yourself.
This I would. Very much enjoy that. Let me put my rapier in here. For 16 versus this.
Hit.
Dastardly
That is
bat.
a hit.
For 8 points of piercing damage directly to its membrane.
Yeah. Yeah, just like right through its soft spot. A little fur, like as you pull it free, like a little poof of bat fur lets loose. Yeah, ooh. Yeah, he did not like that and squeals and blood begins to pour from his side where you stabbed him. Tree pelt.
Good.
You can't do anything with your hands because you're holding Fergus at the moment.
There's like 2 by me technically, right?
There's one on your backside and one right in front of you that was attacking Fergus.
Use Fergus as a weapon.
But I gotta
Swing him around!
I can't. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing for me to turn around because the one is like right in front of me, in front of Fergus. So I'm gonna like look down at that one and spit at my dragon's method.
Do it. Do I get a save against that? I can't ever remember. I ask you that every time, don't I?
I think so. I don't.
Well, it's 17 hits, so it don't matter. 17 is like it's on. Yeah, roll. Yep, 7. Yeah, you spit right in its face, and it like. And the fur around its like the other leathery parts of its body begin to like singe, and it backs off of Fergus, trying to gain its eyesight back from where you spat in its face. Nice. All right, next up, Fergus.
So Fergus was almost in revelry, just sitting and looking at Tree Pelt, who'd saved him. He was having the time of his life. You know, he had Careless Whisper going on in his head. He was having a good old time. And then out comes this bat from nowhere and starts attacking her. And then she starts like coughing up acid. And Fergus is just like, no! And he is going to attack the... might not be the wisest thing he's ever done, but he's going to use Shocking Grasp. And he's going to empower it when he does so using a sorcery point. You can reroll the damage dice if they're awful.
Oh my gosh, a crit. Okay, yeah, make it so.
And I will re-roll the 1 there.
Okay. Alrighty.
Just because I can.
Just because you can, yeah.
So, yeah, what? 25? 25 shock damage?
Would you like to tell me how you crispy fry this?
Oh, he, like, his Shocking Grasp, he, like, latches onto it and is, like, just shocking it all the way down. Like,
yeah.
and I realize, I say this is probably isn't his wisest thing, because I realize we're all standing in water.
Yeah, this is actually true. So the good news is it was above the water till you killed it with Shocking Grasp. And then you drop its body into the water. It has some residuals, but I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about because it's coming from you. So as you let him go, he like falls. I picture like the way a birthday candle burns down, like all his hair like nights on end. It just like burns into his body really fast as you like crispy fry him. And he too is now bobbing next to the other one that Rindar killed.
That was the one in front of us, right?
That was the one in front of you. Yep. And following that will be Ricardo. There is one like right on top of you.
Yep. You fiend! I'll jump back, throw my rapier, and stab it.
Do it.
With a 23.
That is a hit. Hit.
For 11.
11. Yeah. He takes that, but does not like it. Yeah, same thing. You kind of pierce through that softer place on him. As you pull free, blood kind of like spurts out of him, and it squalls and kind of backs up a smidge from you. Yeah, yes, I love it. And we come back around to Rundar. You now have 2 dead ones floating in front of you. The water's about chest high on you, and Fergus is kind of above your head from where they've killed the other ones.
I will sheathe my short swords actually and pull out my short bow.
Nice.
And I will send 1 arrow at the one pestering tree pelt and Fergus, and then 1 on the one over Finbar.
I love it. Quick draw, just like cool. We'll make that roll. Yes and yes. Hit and hit. Dang. Okay. So the one that was attacking the one that's attacking Finbar. So you do 9 points. You see it like takes it through the wing, like you like whip its wing, and now it's trying to like stay just above the water. It's like really, really hurt. You have hurt it. Okay. Those 2 like take both those arrows, and squall the both of them as they back off. Lets go his teeth out of her shoulder, and we loop around to Finbar.
There's one by me still alive?
Yeah, the one in front of you is still alive, but barely.
Let me correct this. 13.
That's a hit.
For 9 piercing damage.
How do you want to kill it?
In one beautiful flourish.
Just shoo.
I carve an F into it rather than a Z as well.
So, yeah, and you see it like it eats through, and it actually takes that like that cartoonish moment to like look at it before it like and it falls and plunks into the water below you as it splashes.
Delightful.
Yes. I actually skipped the bats, which I realized, but there's only 2 left. So one of them is still alive and is going to attempt to make that attack on. Actually, since Rundar shot the arrow, it's going to kind of dive towards you since it's already falling and make that attack. Let's see here. Got a 17 to hit. I'm guessing that hits you, Rundar. You might be muted, man.
Yes, that hit.
Oh, sorry. Okay, cool. So you take kind of a measly 4 points of damage as it comes down and like rakes its teeth across your back as it's like falling and trying to keep itself up. The other one is standing right in front of the Great Ricardo and is going to do the same thing. It's going to reach out and attempt to make a bite. It's going to attempt to make a bite at you as you brandished your weapon at him last time. Here we go. 22 to hit.
Ow.
Ow.
That's good.
I had 5 points.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, he like rips. He kind of rips your arm open with his teeth. As you kind of he bypasses your blade. And next up is Tree Pelt. What's up, Tree Pelt? What you want to do?
I'm up, but which bat? Like, where's the closest person to us?
Good question. So there is currently one that is they're all below you because you're still kind of floating. Directly below you is Rundar, and one that is heavily injured that's barely flying. And then there is another one that's about 10 feet from you that is currently in combat with Ricardo.
I gotta go, like, dive bomb at the closest one.
Okay, yeah, that would be the one with Rundar. Yeah, go ahead. You want to dive bomb? What are you planning to do? Because you still have Fergus in your hands?
Yeah, I'm gonna, like, dive bomb and, like, try to, like, pull back and, like, spit acid at this thing because I can't do much.
Yeah, sure. So you're kind of dive bombing and dropping acid on it. I love it. All right, yeah, roll again.
Get him.
That does not hit. It just, like, it just misses him.
The warning shot.
Yep, but it does notice and like it pulls away as the acid kind of just misses his wing.
Now Fergus can play.
Now Fergus, what you want to do as you like swoop down? Whee!
So Fergus will mistake this for Tree Pelt being hurt and falling out of the sky and coughing up more acid, and he may not be able to reach, so he will extend the distance of his next shocking grasp on an 11.
On an 11. 11 does not hit.
Ah.
Her swoop with you in hand, you just like couldn't like nail the shot, like threw you off a little bit, your trajectory. It is now. Yeah, oh no!
The old swoop and scoop.
The swoop and scoop. It is now Ricardo's turn.
And again, of course, attack the bat that just bit me again.
Yeah, spit you again. You might have rabies problem. Don't want to have that scene about.
Yeah, no.
Oh, nope. That's a miss. A 9 is a miss. And it loops back around to the bat.
Stay still.
Yeah. The one that's heavily injured does his thing again. Let's see. Trying to make a bite on... Actually, he's going to try to make a bite on on Fergus as Fergus like swings past him. Like tree bolt like swooped in. He dodged the acid, and it's going to reach out and attempt to bite Fergus's bare feet.
Ooh,
No!
nasty.
And a 23.
That definitely hits.
That hits.
Oh, does this mean I have another disease?
I'm sorry, Fergus.
You're going to be so disease-ridden when you leave this place, Fergus. Oh, and an 8.
He's gonna spread
Wait.
that disease when he leaves.
He's
as well.
going to spread it.
Now, some may find this damage measly. Fergus looks quite upset about this.
Yeah, it has like ripped your feet open as you swing past, like raked it. Little Fergus toes. It's a sad day. And the other bat turns to Ricardo and is gonna do. I mean, you guys are like dueling it out. I feel like. So he's gonna stick with you. That's not what I wanted. At a 21 to hit, man, I am like nail. It is meant to be. Somebody's dying today. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Do your worst.
Yeah. Let me double check. Make sure I got the right. I've been doing this for a while. I should know over and over. And 7 points of damage to you. Rundar, there is one right in front of you that's attacking Fergus's feet.
I am going to step back so I can continue using my bow,
Nice.
and I will shoot one arrow at it and one
Woo! Hit.
the one that is on Finbar.
All right, so 7 points for. Okay, so the one that was attacking Fergus, when you hit it with that arrow, it basically in his back because he's turned away from you, goes down. So you can tell me how you'd like to kill him.
I've been doing so well. I will let the arrow go and just assume it's going to do what I want and turn aim at just like nonchalant.
Yeah, I feel like you don't even aim the first one. You're just like, right? Awesome. And you turn and roll. You want to roll the second one? Nice hit.
Oh.
Bang up, and you kill that one. Would you like to be the all-star player of the day and tell us how you kill the last one of
MVP.
these big bats?
And as it goes down, I'm like, I should have been an elf. I should have been in a movie. I should be sliding down elephant tusks.
Yeah. Oh, elf eyes. Okay, yeah, and you
Still
do,
only
and
counts as one.
the last of the bats splash in the water body. The water finally kind of settles, and all 5 bodies are floating around you guys. One of them actually bumps into Rundar's like chest because he's chest deep, and the guide that you have charmed is looking not quite as charmed anymore. You can tell he's beginning to fight it a little bit, and he's like shaking his head some, and he points against his free will, and he says, "This way," and points to a small hole. And the wall, I say small, is about 3 foot in diameter, around from side to side, whole thing, and it's pouring out sewage. It's draining sewage.
You may have been very cool just then, Rundar, but keep in mind you are chest deep in shit. Would you like a hand? I'll help him out, or someone will thicker stuff for having helped me, and through that hole there, Avocado, it seems as though our friend here is getting out of control a little bit.
Right.
He's resisting the spell.
He's resisting. Are you resisting? No, you are, friend. You can tell us where we need
No
to go.
resistance. What else?
Right, and you see him like again. He like twitches a little bit. His body does. He's creaky, and he's like struggling with it. And he like blinks really hard. And he looks at you and he says, "Yes, through there."
Right, let's go.
All right.
So you guys are gonna have to crawl through on hands and knees. It's like a tunnel. It's like a water drain.
I'm like the biggest thing here. Oh my god.
I know. I was about to say you're gonna have the most struggle, but it is just wide enough to fit your shoulders.
I've had a great deal of success with the application of butter to one's person. Perhaps I have a personal store of it, which I would allow you to use if you would like to lubricate yourself.
I am not letting you lube me up.
I'll put rubber on for you.
No, I would love.
That's a solid statement.
I would rather watch you do it. You can.
I can rub it on. I've got little hands. I can get little crook nicks and crannies.
Why do all you guys want to watch me get lube all over me?
As you're standing in like a foot of shit water.
No, I'm still flying.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You saved my shoes.
You don't want to know how many answers there are to that, Treebill, but fine. It's your own prerogative. I'm going in after the old man, of course. I butter myself up a little bit.
Yeah, always make sure he goes
like
first.
just the tender places.
Yeah, just where it really gets chafy, you know.
Yeah, and still charmed. He's the first one in, the old man, and he like, you're surprised his body can even get on all fours, and he like crawls into this thing against his free will, and like starts kind of splashing through the few inches of sewage that's kind of pouring out, and he disappears into kind of the darkness of the tunnel.
Let's follow him.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You guys want to tell me what order you're in?
I'll be next because I need to make sure he doesn't run away.
I'll go after that.
I'm flying Fergus over and I let Fergus go before me.
Fergus is okay. Tree pelt.
Are you gonna go last? Or
it is up to you.
Because I'm
Ladies'
big
choice.
and I feel I'd slow you down, and if they need us, you should be up front.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, so it'll be Rundar, and then Tree Pelt's gonna bring up the rear.
I'm gonna get so stuck.
All right. Yeah, and it's tough. The good news is it's a slimy tube. Oh, it's so slimy. Like the whole thing's covered in like little funguses. It's green and growing, and your shoulders, Tree Pelt, brush the edges. It's kind of like raking a groove through this like green stuff as you're kind of crawling through. The rest of you are fine. And he leaves.
I got wings though, so they're like catching on everything.
Yeah, you're like raking. They're kind of like raking the top. Things are falling on you. It's pretty gross. It's actually really gross now that I think about it. And he leads you down the tunnel about 20 or 30 feet where it splits, goes right or left. And in front of you is like a drainage pipe, a graded drainage pipe. And he kind of goes left and moves his body out of the way so you guys can see. And he says, shh, and points out the grate. And in front of you, you can see some of the collectors like walking past. You can like see their feet from about the knees down, and two of them meet up from clearly different districts. One of them's in black, is Lady Legs in black leather. Her posse is behind her, and the food court district, the big belly food court district man says, "Have you found them yet?" She says, "No, I can find them nowhere. I don't know where they are. They could possibly be hiding." He says, "I know. I thought by now we'd have our hands on the greasy necks and could just strangle them and feed them to Grundy." And she says, "Shh."
My neck is only greasy because of the butter.
And she says, "Quick, they must be here somewhere." And they kind of part and move away again. And the old man, still fighting, he points that way. And he starts kind of crawling again. You can see it's beginning to wear, his charm spell's wearing off as he's like grinding through this sewage pipe, trying to fight taking you guys and not yelling out for them. Anything you want to do?
Time to go. Is there anything
Time to go.
I'll get ready to cast the spell again, just as soon as it fails.
Okay.
I'm struggling back here. I can't do much.
I was about to say, do you know when it lapses? I don't know if there's like you get a tingly sensation in your toes. Yeah. So he he leads you down a little bit farther. And why don't you guys, it opens up into more tunnels. There's like 8 or 9 of them in front of you, like choose a door kind of a thing. And he says, that one there, and points.
Right. Come on,
Okay.
open it.
Right? Oh, you want to go? Okay, so you go straight for it.
I ask, what is your name?
The old man?
Yeah.
He says, I have no name. I only serve Grunrundi.
Right, servant of Grunrundi, open the door, please.
And he walks over and he says, gladly, as he swings open one of the grates behind this door, and he gets this smirk on his face.
Kill him. I don't
Is
like
this the bit where we own the black market?
He says, it is just...
To see if I sense anything off.
Yeah, why don't you roll an insight to see
Yeah,
if the
that's
spell
what
has
I'm
worn off?
Trying to do as well.
Ooh, at a 16.
Nope.
At a 1, no.
I have no idea.
At a 16, at a 4, no. For you guys, it seems the same. He's putting on a pretty good show of it, but there is something in your gut, Treepill, that tells you that he's lying to you.
I can like pull Fergus and be like, no, not the way.
He says, but this right through here, this is the way to the black market.
How
Go ahead.
close
Go ahead.
together are we?
Lead on.
Are we still in a line?
No. The room's opened up, and you guys are kind of standing in front of a bunch of different grated doors, and he's opened one in particular for you.
Are they marked in any way?
They are actually. They're numbered.
Can I like, cause I...
What number is the one he's pointing at?
7.
7.
Can I lunge at him and try to grab him? Cause I
Yeah,
said,
you're welcome to try to grab him. He's probably going to roll a dex against you if you try to grab him.
What do I do?
Yeah, so you can roll just hit your dexterity on your sheet, or it's for a dex. Yeah, so roll your dex. Okay, at a 9, and we'll see how he does against you. He's not very dexterous, so at a 6, so you beat him to it. It's neither of you are very dexterous, but you do beat him out and manage to grab him. And he says, "What are you doing?"
I hiss at him. I'm like, I know you're not leading us the right fucking way. Tell us where the fuck we should go.
His kind of his like ashy old man face, very cavernous, his skin pulled back. He leans into you and he says, "This is the way." Are you trying to intimidate him?
How do I do that?
Yeah, you can roll an intimidation. It should be right there on your skills.
Skills.
Pretty much halfway down.
Yes, at a 15. All right. That's pretty intimidating. But he has seen scarier stuff. He does lean in and is aware that you're probably going to eat his face. But he still says, "This is the way. If you don't believe me, then kill me."
Someone should stop me because I'm about to spit acid on this guy.
Do it. Hey, if you want to spit acid on him, yeah. But he doesn't seem to be giving into your intimidation. Oh!
Yes.
Roll
You're
the...
gonna earn the black market! What? Don't spit on the cloves!
I
Don't spit
come
on the
back.
cloves!
I was about to say right on his face, and you hear him like, "Ah!" He like screams out as you do this, and it burns away his eyes and pieces of flesh from his face, and a few of the scales even like peel back a little bit. They like scaly bits around his neck, and he breathes and he says, "You will have to do better than that," as like part of his jaws now like running off of his face.
I turn around, draw my rapier, and end him.
Okay.
Or at least try to.
Try to, yeah. Well, I mean, you'll definitely hit him, so really all you need to do is roll the damage, because he's not going to fight you on it. She's holding him.
Oh, for a second I thought he was coming after me. It's like, I believe this guy.
Yeah, so 5 piercing damage. So you run him through, and and he screams out again. And he's kind of trying to laugh through his jaw falling off from the acid. And he's now kind of bleeding out all over the place. He says, "Not this." And he points, now not being able to speak. Oh, and he takes an arrow to the side. Gunk! And he lets out another scream. as his jaw like pops off of his face, his flesh is melting, and he's kind of like twitching now in the hand of Tree Pelt. She kind of holds him by the throat, and he and dies right there in your hands.
I just like discard his body and like look at the door.
Before you do that, I'd like his robes. I'd like to be the creepy old man.
By all means, yeah, you can take him right off his body. You're welcome to roll. If you actually want to do the deception now, you can.
Yeah, I've got like a disguise kit, so 22. I like
and you've got
on my old like
yeah,
old
you
lines.
look the part. Yeah, you gray makeup out your face and like, you shade under your cheekbones to make your face look thinner. You're still a relatively attractive old man, but you're working it. You're working those cloaks and
like
robes.
this guy just got sexy. Right, now it's me, Finbar.
If we could just look at your outfit there a little bit, Finbar. I mean, we could taper in around the waist a little bit just to like emphasize your body shape, I think.
Have you been talking to those charity shop girls again, Fergus?
I wouldn't do anything you wouldn't do, just like you told Narrate.
You know how I feel about them.
What can I roll to like look at the doors and figure out what they might be?
Yeah, you're welcome to do an investigation. Roll an investigation on the set of doors to see if you can figure it out.
I'm going to do the same.
Probably not.
Ooh.
Oh,
they are doors to me.
kitty. So you've spent some time here, Ricardo. We don't exactly know how long, but you seem to have been performing in the gallery for a while.
Yep.
And you're able to aptly recognize that the 9 doors in front of you each lead probably to a specific district in the order of like which they're listed. The thing is that the black market's not listed. It's not considered an actual, it's the black market. So it's not considered part of it, right? So it doesn't actually have a labeled one. There must be either another way or you have to choose one of the two or one of the holes to go in.
So how many doors are there and how many districts are there?
There are 9 districts, 9 doors. The black market would be District 10, even though it's not official.
Right, okay. So one of the doors isn't what it pretends to be.
My guess is number 7.
Are there tracks or anything
You want us to go
on the floor?
Ooh, that's really good. How was with an 18 investigation? Yeah, you're able to see that the door that he was leading you down is definitely fresh. Like nothing's been disturbed, if you would, kind of at the mouth of it. But that door number 4, clearly the right there at the kind of cup of the tube has been worn away by like knees or hands over time. It just seems a little bit more worn, and the door is unlocked.
I think it's this one. Lots of
Just
people
like follow you over there because I'm like done with this shit.
I'll just have a open door really quietly, and I'll just have a look inside.
Yeah, you peer in, and from what you can tell, it looks like just another kind of drainage tube. It doesn't look like water's rushing in it. It's kind of just standing at the bottoms, as if maybe this is it's not used to move water anymore. But yeah, that's about all you notice in terms of the tube. You see about 60 feet or so, and then it makes a right-hand turn in kind of a very dark, narrow tunnel again. That being said, everybody else that's not looking at the door, why don't you roll me a perception?
And I'll carry on. I just have a look inside and come back.
Natural 20.
Quickly until I see you around the bend.
Yeah, I'm just like by the door waiting for you.
Okay, cool. At a natural 20, Finbar, not only do you hear it, but like you get that your instincts kick in, and the hair stands up on the back of your neck, and you hear behind you from where you just came the same sound of those women going, "They're close. I heard them. I heard somebody screaming."
They've heard us. They're coming.
We're not screaming.
Shut up. Shh, idiot. Which one is it, Ricardo?
This one.
This one,
The one with the door's open.
Oh, yes. Very
The
good.
one I've been searching.
The one you've been searching. That makes sense.
Do you guys hop in?
Just go in.
I'm already following him.
Great, yeah. So you guys, again, I'll just kind of say you're probably in the same order, one at a time. The old man's not there this time, so that would put Ricardo, you're in the front?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you go about 60 feet. I need you to roll me a dexterity check. I would also actually probably take a save if it's better if you have a proficiency.
Yep.
Ooh.
At a 9, you see him like as you go to turn the corner, and you literally see him just like bloop and disappear. You go to put your hand down, and there's nothing there. And you begin to slide down this like slick surface that's at a downward incline. Yeah, he disappears down this slide in front of you. And I guess that would put actually Finbar right behind him. So Finbar, you see him just like start down this slick slide.
Off he goes.
Off he goes. It's the only. It is the
turn
only.
around, so I'm now sliding on my backside. And
Yeah. You turn
try to
around and you can like
steer.
point at him. And you see him go as far as your dark vision will let him, go, and then he like and disappears.
This isn't my first slip and slide. I jump on it.
Yeah. You go down. Finbar rides it out. Fergus, you see this
Masterfully.
as Finbar.
No! He just runs forward, dives down forwards.
And I am half
Like
a
a
step
slip and
behind.
slide. Yeah, Rune Dar. I was about to say,
Like-
yeah, the two of you are like bobsledding like through this disgusting sewage tunnel.
Like a dad in a comedy movie.
Is it like I'll stop at the top, but is there any opening or is it just down?
It basically leads down. So the tube was kind of flat, and then it just kind of starts tipping at this downward angle. And they just have kind of rode the slide to the bottom.
Could I like turn around, like shoot acid at the wall to try to cave it in and then follow?
That would depend on the amount of damage. I would say you end up rolling. You're welcome to definitely spit the acid. It's just going to depend. It'll take a lot to actually collapse in the ceiling. A lot of damage. At an 8, wow. That was quite a lot. I would say, yeah, it kind of collapses in. It's not like a huge collapse. But when you do it, it kind of crumbles the ceiling and blocks off most, if not all, of the 3-foot kind of canal you're in, or tube you're in.
Then I just follow them down, and whenever we stop, I just tell them that I bought us time.
Yeah, great. So you guys are sliding, and it is leading you basically straight down. And you probably slide down 3 or 4 stories before, Ricardo, you hit bottom. Boop. Yep. Right behind you comes Finbar. Doink. Fergus.
Scoot out of the way before Finbar hits me.
Do you want to try to make a dex to get out of his way?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Go
Coming
for it.
through.
Yeah. Tally ho! At a 9, not enough. He does. He still clips you. He still clips you.
Right, yeah.
I feel like kids in those water slide pools where they just like come down too quickly on top of each other. Yeah, and you guys like kind of pile stack. And you've emptied out into a much drier cavern. No water on the ground. It's definitely still stone, but it is like it's hot. It's like getting warm. You've gone even deeper into the earth.
Can we stand up in here?
Yeah, it's very, so you guys all have dark vision, so it's an empty room. It's just kind of open square room, and in the walls around you are like the slots where bodies might have place all around you. It's a square room about 25 by 25.
Okay, I'm gonna like stand up, shake my pelt out of all the damn shit and crap in it. I'm like, I'm fucking done with all this shit. And
Yeah.
I just walk over
Tell
to
me
the
about it.
wall and just like kind of try to see if there's some way that we might get out of the room.
Yeah, just do. Yeah, so you're just kind of, so roll a perception just to see if you see a way out or another exit, and then you can do also an investigation to get just some general more information on the space.
And then investigation.
Okay, so perception wise, there is definitely one way out. There's like a door that looks like it leads deeper into the catacomb, this unused catacomb. You also note that in the center of the room is a slab, and this slab is it's got some engravings and things around it, as if maybe somebody important would have been laid to rest here. It's very, very old, and it's crumbling around the edges. But you don't note a whole lot more than that in terms of the investigation of the room.
And so I'm gonna nod my head to the table and be like, someone look at that, and I'm gonna go to the door and like look out to make sure no one else is kind of there. But
Yeah,
I'm
scope it
standing,
out.
like in the doorway, just not leaving the room yet.
Okay, cool. Does anybody else want to scope the room in any way?
I'll have a look at that slab then.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll an investigation, or I'll take a history as well. Whatever's better for you. Okay.
Different investigation.
So here's the thing. You investigate this and you kind of are, what are your languages that you speak?
Just my own common and elven.
Just common and elven, okay. So you walk around and you note that the writing on it is most of it's in Dwarven, so you don't get a whole lot from it. But definitely somebody important was laid here. And on the top of the slab where the head probably was, carved in, you can read, even though it's in Dwarven, it says Grunrundi.
Fergus has been like prestidigitating himself clean, and if he sees that Tree Pelt's annoyed by this, he'll also do that, and he'll come across and cast comprehend languages on himself.
Woo!
And touch the table so he can read it.
Okay, yeah. It basically says it's it's the final resting place of the first dwarf laid here, Grunrundi. So says the text on it.
But there's nothing here. There are no bodies or bones or anything.
It's empty. This whole chamber's empty.
So the dragon came and killed all the dwarves, but they killed this one first, and now we own the black market.
Almost none of those things.
Not in so much of an order. I feel like you got all the puzzle pieces, just they didn't quite fit together right. Yeah, but that's really all you get. Now, Tree Pelt, from your vantage, where you're watching the door, it does look like it leads deeper, like I said, kind of into a catacomb. But at the end of this hallway with more of the shelving for bodies is a flight of stairs upwards.
Found the way out, guys.
Yeah, let's go, because there's nothing.
But is that a way out, or just another way back in?
We don't want to find whatever's eaten all of these people here. Let's take the way out.
Come on, Fergus, it just goes up. Figured it goes somewhere.
Yeah, so you guys kind of walk through. It's eerie, not just because it's a catacomb, but it's eerie because it's a catacomb with no bodies in it. Like, it feels all wrong. As you kind of walk through that, it weighs on you. And you take this flight of stairs up, and it leads you to a set of big double doors. They are closed.
See, told you. Way out.
Maybe we could go to one of them other places where they were dumping all the bodies and bring the bodies over here, so it feels a bit more, roomy.
I don't think we need the home bodies.
No.
Oh, okay.
Once we agree.
Just eat those anyway.
Which way do these doors open?
We diverge.
It looks like they push forward.
Push forward. Is obvious handles or locks on
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two large handles, so they're giant dwarven doors. So they're stone, but the edges of them have been gilded in different kind of metals and steel, so they're very, very heavy. There is one giant lock that clearly locks the two doors together, but there are two hook handles that pull, push, kind of a thing.
Can I spit acid at the lock?
Yeah, sure. I mean, nobody's even tried to push it. You don't even know if it's locked.
I just like spitting acid at shit.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it eats right through it. Eats a giant hole through it. GBs. Yeah, and the doors kind of, you do actually hear the lock like simmer away with the acid, and the two doors are now free if you'd like to push them open.
Okay, let's try.
All right. The doors, as you push them open, lead you into what seems to be a meeting chamber in the catacombs, or maybe a preparatory chamber. There are lots of slabs here that bodies would have been laid out on. There are a few uncrushed jars lying about and a few on shelves. And there's a very large basin that probably held water on the northern side of the room, along with two doors on your left and on your right.
Mm-hmm.
I like what my first reaction was. I should crush those jars. Like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I keep walking in the room and just kind of stand in the middle of the room and look around.
Yeah, you peer around. You hear for the first time the footsteps of that rumble of people above you, as if you were getting close to the Grunrundi surface. I say the Grunrundi surface again, right above you. That just kind of hustle and bustle with people and noise and carts and things. You can hear that rumble above your head. Finally, for the first time in a while.
I will go to one of the doors, the door on the left, and just listen.
Yeah, take a peek. So roll that perception. How we do? Wow, another one. Yeah. You like put your ear to the door and you can hear on the other side, it's definitely a hollow room. You can hear like the blink of a water somewhere off in the far corner of it. And I'll even say you probably like peer through the keyhole in it. And when you do so, it does look like this is a large storage facility that held things, embalming tools, more jars. It's like a storage closet, basically.
I think I hear some water in here. I could really go for a bath.
It might just be sewage again.
You want to crack the door open or try to push it open?
Yes, I will try to open the door.
It like very old. The dust kind of moves and settles as it squeaks open, and it's still very dark in here. But you can see at the very back corner where you hear that plink, plink, plink. The corner of the room has been chipped away, and it's left a hole, like a the corner of the room has been pulled out, and somebody's burrowed in, and there's something on the other side of that.
Okay, I point this out to everybody. There's a tunnel dug in here.
That must be a way out of here, surely.
Finbar, is this one of them tunnels of
I'll
love?
have a look on the other side, through the other two doors, quick.
I'm sorry, say that one more time for me.
I'll have a look at the other doors on the other side.
Yeah, you go to the just because, right? You get to that one and it's actually locked. On the other side, if you can peer through the keyhole, and since you have dark vision, you see it's also a storage closet, but looks like it probably held the items that people had on them, or were meant to be buried with people in their individual spaces. So maybe nicer things than simply jars with intestines in them. But it was a temporary storage place where personal items would have been housed while the bodies were being prepared.
So these are all rooms rather than
exits,
tunnels or exits.
Yeah, except for the hole that he found in the corner.
Right, okay. Then we head over to the door Roomba found.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when you get there, Rundar, and I'm guessing you kind of get close. You want to get close to the hole and you realize that the darkness is not dark because there's no light. It's dark because there's a piece of fabric draped on the opposite side of it. Like a piece of black fabric.
Let's put that up there.
Oh.
Yeah. You pull it back, and when you peer your head out, it's actually one of the lower levels of the black market. You found the exit. And it kind of is at floor. It's literally it's at the feet of everybody, and the bottom corner of a wall somewhere if you wanted to try to crawl out.
I knew we didn't need that old man.
Rats. This seems appropriate.
We should do two things, and they can both be done at the same time. We should run over to where all the slaves are and see if Ari's one of the people being sold, because you guys said about slavery.
Almost.
And then we should steal a boat and sail away.
We should do
I don't think we should go running through the black market looking for slaves.
We should do almost none of those things.
You know it's bad when Finbar is the voice of reason.
Look for Ari soon, Fergus. I promise. She'll be fine. She can handle herself. She probably isn't a slave. She's probably enslaving lots of people and very happy about it.
Fergus is turning them big eyes again, just...
Please.
Wait, don't we have the armor from the old people that we molested in the corner or something?
There was no.
Wow,
I
missed that episode, but I do remember old people. You killed them all, and then there was the armor that Fergus, you guys all took off of the collectors.
Yes,
from the Maker's District.
And I'm in the guise of the servant of Grunrundi right now. So
correct.
We stride in there as though we own the place.
Can I look around to see if there's any kind of chains or something?
Yeah, so when you look in, really what you're seeing is the average street of the black market. Like when you peek your head around, there's no chains or anything. It opens up actually onto the black market itself, which people are, hawking their wares. There's some really weird stuff being sold. You guys see the little cat with the body cart like rolls by, and he's selling, intestines and hearts and weird jars of eyeballs and stuff.
If you wanted chains, you should have just asked.
Yeah, and there's definitely kind of a red light district situation happening, but the offerings are obscure to say the least. And you can hear the arena, which is just down the way, is clearly back up and running, even though you guys destroyed it the last time you were here. So it looks like you're not necessarily in any kind of slave quarters or in the slave trading section of.
I'm gonna why don't we look for the slave district? And I hate this, but because of the way I look, I would be the perfect slave for them not to question what we are doing.
Sure. If you want to change, you should look at my latest line of underwear. Painfully erotic.
I got a bitch slap.
Just like whack, just like, it's funny.
I'm an old man.
So yeah, you heed the warning to them and you like give the kind of group the idea, and you guys are able to crawl out of this little cranny, this little nook on the lower tier of the black market, and you kind of come to the street back up to what is probably the first bit of real fresh air you've had in almost 3 days.
Breathe the free air, my friends. Well, the enslaved air.
Yeah.
So, when you said we have to walk like we own the place, do we need to kill a load of rats, or... I mean, that's how we owned the last place.
I mean, I killed a bunch of grandmas.
Don't do
Just walk casually.
any of those things. Just walk, Fergus. Just walk, in fact.
Yeah, so so you're definitely deceiving everyone. I mean, you look like him, except you're, actually Finbar.
Yeah.
As you lead the group. Now, the rest of you, are you
I'm
following?
going to use disguise self.
Okay.
And make myself look like one of those hood figures.
Like the dragon ones, the dragon hooded figures. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'm definitely not. Yeah.
Yep.
A tabaxi, which is probably
right.
Yeah.
A bit uncommon around here.
If anyone stops me, I wave them away from our group. Get out of my way.
Yeah, people part for you, Finbar. Like as you walk, there's clearly a respect for like your presence, and you hear the pitter patter of the feet, and somebody behind you says, "Oh my gosh, you're back! We sure have missed you, sir. Is there anything I can do for you today?" And she looks up at you.
I would like you to jump out of the nearest window.
Yes, sir. And she runs into the place next door. You can hear the like pitter patter of her feet as she goes up a flight of stairs. And she takes a running dive out of the window and crashes at your feet as her neck breaks.
You see, Fergus, I saved you about 10 minutes of time right there.
Oh, but we could have pulled her mask off and then she might have been okay.
She would have done that herself and you would have been guilty for it. I have removed all blame from you. She literally did that to
I kind of just pushed the party ahead with my head held high, like I own this fucking district. And I'm like the strangest looking creature there.
So as you continue and just leave this woman, people run by and begin scavenging everything they can off of her dead body and leave it laying in the center of the street, completely, really naked, as they have taken everything off of her. You keep walking, and it's not hard to find where the water outlet is, which is where the ships are kind of coming from. There's moisture in the air down one section of the black market. You can hear the kind of boats and the of water as it splashes against the edges of the stone. And you guys are able to follow it down, and you see for the first time the actual slave trading area of the black market of this district. And it is on the docks. They have, you name it, they've got it lined up and chained to something. There are giant shipping crates that have single letters on the side. There's an H, there's a G, right? And they are putting people on them in these shipping crates with just like holes drilled in the side, and barring them up. These big orcs are. Some people are in nicer shape than others, but it's definitely not a pleasant place at all. As you walk onto it,
under my breath, as I like watch this, I'm just growling under my breath, trying to hold myself back.
Yeah, and one guy comes up to me and says, "Hi, are you looking to get out of the Galleria? Well, you can sell yourself right here to me, and I'll make sure you hop the next ship right on out of here."
Can I freaking take my sword and slash him as like a show of dominance?
You want to like step up to him? I mean, he's just like a scrolling dude. He's just a salesman. But yeah, he steps back and he's like, "Whoa, didn't mean to offend. You know, most people come to the slave traders market to sell themselves. You know what I mean? But if you're here to buy something, I've got something for you."
I'm sure that you do. Also, Verena, almost Amy for the raid and host. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, he's like, so, you know, if you're looking for something, just tell me what it is you're looking for, and I'll see if I can, look you up.
I'm looking for something. I'm looking for my friend Ari. I think she might be in a crate that starts with A because her name's Ari.
He stops and looks at you and says, "Dear little one, we don't use names. Once you're sold into the slave traders, you're just sold in." And he says, "But can you tell me maybe like her race? I'll take her race. Or you know, does she have any features? Is she a big lady? Is she got I got all kinds of things I sell."
She's an Ari. She's an Ari, and she likes older gentlemen, and
Those really are her two most distinctive features.
And the entertainment district. She really likes the entertainment district.
He says, "Oh yeah, me too. I love that entertainment district. Let me tell you, I go there all the time and pick up ladies and bring them right back here and sell them right onto that boat."
Stopping him.
And you smack him and he says, "Woo! I haven't had one of those in a while. Man, I am Jones. Is there anything I can sell you guys today?"
I think she's the same as Finbar. Finbar, isn't she the same as you? Isn't she like a elf thing?
Could be.
Oh, she's a half elf.
Sure.
He says, "Great. The half-elf stocks are," and he points down to kind of the very end of this dual dock that runs the length of this kind of port where you can pull your boats up that feeds out into the larger canal that ships out of the Galleria of Grunrundi. And he says, "Yeah. If you're looking for a half-elf, man, we got some good half-elves for you." And he points down and kind of ushers you that direction. He says, "Now go," and
As soon as he's pointing, Fergus is running full tilt.
Can I snap the guy's neck?
You gonna kill him? All right. I mean, you're welcome to try.
In the fucking black market, man.
Yeah, you're welcome to try to snap his neck if you want to.
What do I have to roll?
Oh, no.
So that would be a strength, I would say.
Oh no!
Roll your 20 plus your strength. I mean, you're kind of doing it by hand.
My minions are getting out of control again.
Finbar, I know how to handle myself in the black market.
I'm not Finbar.
So he met it, which means that you're not necessarily able to snap his neck. You're able to grab him by the neck, just barely. He almost pulls away, but you managed to catch him by the neck.
I'm gonna shove him against the wall.
Okay.
Growl up at him and be like, "Scram, you little rat! You never saw us," and throw him onto the ground.
Yeah, he scutters up and he goes, yes, of course. And is very confused by why you're assaulting him. And he scutters up on his feet and starts walking away in a hurried fashion back, as far away from you as he can. Now, Fergus, you've hauled ass through this crowd of people down to the very end, where you can tell that they have set up these individual kind of small wooden stages on the docks where they kind of auction people off. And the one at the very end is labeled with a big sign that says half elves. The one across from it says elves. The one next to it says humans, as if they're auctioning people off based upon their race.
So Fergus tries desperately to actually remember which race Ari is, but not being entirely sure. He just remembers that she's bigger than him. He just starts shouting, "Ari! Ari!"
People kind of look at you funny. Most everybody is trying to stay way on the incognito because they just happen to be buying and selling living free creatures. And there's a few boats that kind of ship by as they continue to load people on, but you don't see anything. There is a sign right out front that tells you when the auction will be starting. The next auction starts in 2 hours for half elves.
probably run back to the party and be like, auction soon. We can buy.
There's an auction soon. We can buy Ari.
Why would we want? Oh, sure.
And he's gonna kick Finbar in the shin like,
You know who Ari is.
I merely consider her a prize that one could not buy. Only
Oh, well, with those words, why doesn't Finbar roll a perception?
My old man eyes now.
Your old man eyes.
Natural
Oh, with the
Birdle
that
night.
one. You see nothing. You see absolutely nothing.
Into character there.
Really
He's like,
enjoy
I am
it.
an old man.
Trusty old eyes.
You do have it is very interesting. All eyes are kind of on you, Finbar, as you're dressed in this disguise. And as you guys are kind of standing there having this conversation, you feel somebody kind of walk up on your backside, and he leans in, whoever this person is, and breathes and says, "You're not at your post."
It comes every morning. He'll pick it up tomorrow.
This
No.
very yeah, I was about to say, this very irritated human. He's kind of gruff, kind of skeezy goatee, looks down at you, Fergus, and says, "Hush, little one. I don't know what you're doing here or with him."
You're not at your post.
He says, "Yes, I am," and kind of gestures around
Thought
to
that would
the slave trader district as if this is where he's supposed to be. He says, "Have you come to visit my area for a reason?"
Yes, I have. I have some goods to inspect. We've heard that one of them might be conspiring with the traitors, whom we are all looking for. That beautifully handsome man, talented, skilled, fantastic man named Finbar, and the others who travel with him.
He says, he leans in and goes, "We have one of the traitors, one of the conspirers."
I believe that one of them may be a half-elf named Ari, who is terrifying in her own way, of beauty and intelligence and deadly confusing effects.
He kind of pauses a moment and is like, "That's more words than this person's ever said to me."
Very specific. It's a
and he
very
says,
specific description that we have.
"Well, if it helps catch them, I can
all
let
I
you
want.
view them in their holding cells before they make it to the stage."
Of course, I have strict instructions to bring this Ari away for a... ... You know what I mean? I'm going to kill her and enslave her. Haha, that's what we do, right?
Would this guy notice, like, I was one of the people they're after? Because I'm not in disguise.
None of the rest of you are. He's a little questionable as to why you're all standing with this guy, but this guy runs everything, so he's not going to question him or anybody he's standing with.
These are my personal entourage of followers who follow me only in the darkest recesses of every nook and cranny which I delve.
He says, "I assume you mean they're here to help you escort the prisoner."
Yes, that's right.
And he says,
they're my escorts.
Yes, he says, "Well, follow me. I shall show you down to the stocks where you can sift through and see if you find your Ari." And he leads you actually away from the docks and into...
Haha, we are so evil.
So evil. Into what can only be described as what would be used for livestock stocks, and people are daisy chained together, sitting basically on top of one another in these small wooden spaces. A lot of them have been beaten. Some of them are barely alive, but there's quite a few half-elves, actually, a whole bunch of them. Why don't you guys roll a perception to see, or I'll take an investigation to see if you find her.
I don't know who Ari is.
That's okay. So yeah, you maybe you don't know. Okay. Yeah. So Fergus rolled a 20, dirty 20. So you for sure, you like look. You don't see her.
Fergus.
So, Fergus.
This is the lady that was with you, Fergus, when we were, or that was with us when we were in the arena earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know her as well as you, but don't you think it's more likely she has somebody tied to a bed instead of her being chained in a slave pit? Isn't that a little more likely?
oh no, not Ari. She's all talk. She's really, really nice.
And then Fergus sort of like changes and he turns around and he jumps on this guy and like grabs him by the lapels if he can jump the heavy like, where is Ari? She's not there.
Yeah, I picture like your feet are now in his chest, like you've jumped up and grabbed hold, and your feet are like in his gut, and you're like right in his face, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, he says.
I'm gonna come up and like pry Fergus off and be like, calm down, we'll find her.
It's okay, minion. I will punish you later with whips and ointments.
Please don't punish me. I'm sorry. Look, there was a shipment of half-elves that and he leans in close and he said that were being sent to be fed direct to Grunrundi.
Ah, I see. Well, one way or another, it seems as though she'll be getting her just desserts. Desserts, because he's going to be eating them. Where might I find them? I would wish to watch her personal death.
He leans in and he says, you know where they
Yes.
take those that are to be fed to Grunrundi.
I do, but tell me, minion, for I wish to hear it from your lips.
He says, yes, and he like cowers a little bit. He's like, I'm sorry. He says, of course, it is just across the way. You can follow the red bricks down to the meeting chambers and then through to the jails.
Yes, the red brick road. I stroke his hair. Good. Good.
It's like,
Now, take this complimentary pair of underwear. And
are you passing out party favors in the black market?
Yeah. Take this complimentary pair of underwear and be on your way. For I must go and dine in hell.
He holds him up. He is so terribly confused right now. No day at work has ever been this way. As you guys kind of like saunter off, and you really head back into the main area, and you can't miss it. It looks like instead of like red brick, it looks like they've crushed some kind of redstone and have just like sprinkled it on this path. And it's inlaid in like the concrete and stuff. Gives it this really beautiful sheen. And it does. It leads this really nice hallway, leads down and into this meeting room. It's an empty meeting room. With a table in the middle that looks like maybe some important people convene around. There are chairs, and that's about it.
The terribly normal room of evil deeds that we write in very organized manners on pieces of paper. Truly the most terrifying evil is efficiency. Now.
Can I look around to see if anybody's like noticing that this seems really fucking unusual?
I mean, you guys have gone kind of out of the main area at this point and down into what is basically like the break room of the for the collectors, at least of this district. And you don't notice anybody follow you, and because you're with disguised Finbar, nobody's really questioning it. But you do notice when you get down into the room that it's kind of this table, this meeting table, and there is a pedestal with a book on it at the far north end of the room.
This is an Ari Eva.
It's under glass.
Can I walk over to the book and just look at it?
This has the feeling of that greatest evil.
Yeah, you look over.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, and it's a big book. Big book. Do you what languages do you read, Treepelt?
I have Draconic, Common, and then Abyssal, I believe.
Okay. All of this is written in Dwarven. This is an old handmade book. You can see there are some interesting, like if you would, footnotes that might be written in a little Draconic, but most of what you get is very confusing and doesn't make any sense because it's based off of Dwarven text, the reference.
So, someone come here, I can't read.
Dwarven, is it? I can take a look.
Peer down. Do you actually read it, or are you casting something?
I'll read. Yeah, I can read Dwarven.
Oh, you actually, okay, great. Yeah, and you look down, and the page that is open, that it's kind of like a center fold, is not only a really well drawn gold inlaid image of the same dragon you saw on the ceiling, but the text basically speaks of the finding of Grunrundi. It's a journal entry, actually, handwritten by whoever the the bard was that wrote this story down. And it tells of the finding of Grunrundi as an accident. The dwarves tapped into this mountain and came across him. And the page that's laid open kind of ends. It doesn't complete the story necessarily, but it says, we must keep the people protected. We must keep this a secret.
It's like covered in glass.
Yeah, it's in like a glass casing.
Can I like punch the glass to turn the
You sure can. If that's the action you want to take.
I will try and stop it. Treepelt, please, before you punch things, bear in mind that we're undercover here. Punching glass is going to upset people. They put the glass there for a reason.
Why? There's no one here.
But it's going to make a noise.
It's going to make a noise. Yeah.
Remember that actions, believe it or not, they're for everyone except for me, have consequences.
I'm gonna slap him and try to punch it again unless someone's gonna stop me.
I'm gonna cast Hold Person.
Oh no!
No, he's gonna rape me.
No, none of that. What is you'll need to roll against his Hold Person, Treepelt.
Let me check what kind of save. Like, it's just a Wisdom saving throw.
So roll that Wisdom there, Treepelt, because if not, you're held. Oh, and you don't make it. So you literally, like, you go to punch it, and I imagine, like, your hand right before the glass. Finnbar's like, don't do that, and your body just, like, freezes. You can still hear him. You can still see what's going on around you. You just can't physically move. Yeah, and as this is going on, you guys can hear a whip crack, basically, down through a flight of stairs that goes down a level. And somebody says, "Shut your mouth, you dirty half-elf."
I see. I didn't make up the whips and the ointments.
That must be Ari. And
Fergus is going to run away to try and find Ari, but before he goes,
why is everyone doing this?
he realizes that if we leave Treepelt there, she may be found, so he's going to cast invisibility on her.
I'll let her go in a minute, Fergus. Goodness.
Yeah, Finnbar's like concentrating, and he's like, "It's cool. I got her." And you're able. I mean, you can walk right over and kind of peer down. The flight of stairs is very short. It's only like 5 or so down, and it opens up into an empty room where they definitely have a bunch of half elves chained to one another, with black bags on their head, very similar to the way that they had you, and their hands bound. And one of them is spouting profanities that you can't understand from underneath the black bag, Fergus, and you definitely recognize it as Ari.
Fergus doesn't think. He jumps down.
You jump down, your feet land, and the guy wielding the whip, he cracks it again at Ari, and it kind of pulls away a piece of flesh as you hear her, spout out another piece of dirty profanity, and he turns and he looks at you and he says, "What are you doing here?" And that is where we're going to end today's episode.
Oh,
nice. Very nice. Yay. That's going to go down next week.
Yay!
We did it! Amazing, my friends. So that's all going to end tonight's episode of the Great Galleria of Grunrundi. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. If you did, let us know there in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. And of course, if you enjoyed tonight's show, hit the follow button and join us. I'll be back again on Saturday with Chelsea for Learn by Play on the D&D channel, 6 PM Eastern. So join us next time for that. But let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? Chelsea, what did you think of last week's? What do you think of this week's episode?
Last week's episode is a wash. No, it was fine. This was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You guys found out information so quickly, not just in this episode, but in general with Galleria. So I'm now spreading stuff out. So it's been fun, digging into new aspects of each of the districts and the deep, dark downs of the Galleria. So you guys let me play with some of the dungeon stuff today, which was cool. So thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Where can we find you online, Chelsea?
Oh, yeah. So you can find me online at little_red_dot, pretty much on all the social medias. I spend most of my time on Twitter, so if you want to chat, I'm always over there. When I'm not here every Thursday, Will said, I'm with him on Saturdays over on Wizards of the Coast channel. I do have a podcast called North by Northwest. We have an episode that releases every Wednesday. You can check us out. I'll drop some links. And actually, this Saturday, I'm going to be over on Old Scrat's channel, DMing a silly game. I'm actually going to be playtesting a smidge piece of what I hope to bring to the table for next season of Encounter Roleplay.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you can come check that out and maybe get a little sneak preview, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Awesome. Let's go round in reverse order. So Ozzy, same questions.
Yep, I had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you very much to all. That was really good. You can find me at Cowerhand pretty much everywhere, mostly Twitter. I don't stream, but I am a cast member on a Call of Cthulhu podcast, and we're currently playing through the Horror on the Orient Express. And you can find that here. I'll put a link in chat. And I'm also going to be on Scratch channel on Saturday playing in Chelsea's game.
Amazing.
Randomly.
Great stuff. And Tree Pelt.
Everyone, I love these. I just love this. For once, Tree Pelt didn't try to kill everybody. I mean, that's the start.
I mean, kind
In
of.
her own way.
Yeah.
She's convinced herself of that.
She didn't totally kill the chat, like her party this time. That's very much an improvement for her. But you can find me pretty much anywhere at TreePelt97, except Twitch. It's just TreePelt. So
Great stuff. Scraticus.
Hello. This was an amazing episode for me because we were down in a dungeon and we weren't around people. No one was freaking out about Fergus having herpes or acting weird or there being shops for him to run into. So I actually got to be like normal Fergus for a little bit, like just happy, fun Fergus, which was nice. Yeah, you can find me here on Twitch. I have a Discord as well where I post events. On Saturday, as we've already heard, we're doing the Academy. I'm doing 12 hours, 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. GMT. On Monday, I'm running the Dead Mountain, which is our my campaign on Mondays. On Tuesday, I'm over on Capricorn Cos's channel, only for a one-off this week. Thursdays, I'm here with you, and soon we'll be working in another campaign as run by my wife Alice. So lots and lots going on.
Amazing stuff. Amazing. Stump. Same questions.
Great time. Wonderful time. I love it when I get a chance to do this. As far as where I'll be found, I'm not really on the internet, but I'm usually hanging out in chat here at Encounter Roleplay.
Great stuff. Thank you, my friend. Well, hopefully we'll see these guys back on another game. Hopefully we see you guys again on Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Me and Chelsea will be over there with Tool School Sid and Greg for Learn by Play, another episode of that show, 6 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday. Until then, though, my friends, try not to talk too many that once. Want to be laughing when you do. Good night, everybody.